You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent and Austen Show.
Oh, pitchers and catchers. I thought I saw the Red Sox reporting to spring training this morning. We got that going on, don't we? There we go. I like it. Excited about that, Hamby.
Let's go. It's their turn.
It's their turn. Meaning the big leaguers?
Yeah.
I was thinking of this today. I was like, man, I haven't seen... The baseball offseason feels very long for most teams. Like it felt like the Red Sox were out of it in like August. So they had to play out the spring and September. I mean, they really had October, November, December, January. You get a full 4 months. It's a grinder of a season.
Yeah.
But you get a full 4 months off. Mm-hmm. When I saw those guys, I was like, wow, that is a pretty long off season. Where it just doesn't, because you do nothing. Like, you don't report, you don't do any of that. It just feels like there's always NHL, like NBA, whether it's Olympic stuff or this stuff or that stuff, there's something going on that you could play or maybe you do play or whatever. And Major League Baseball really, now listen, some guys do play in some of the, like the Caribbean League or,
right.
You know, whatever they got going on, the World Baseball Classic sometimes. So I guess there are some more things. But anyway, just always it's just kind of interest struck me today. That that's a longer off season for the baseballers, and you know I thought about this too. It's like spring training's so cool, but like I have no plans to go.
Yeah. Now
I've been a little, we got the kids playing baseball and softball the last few years, so that takes away from the ability to go down there because you're usually watching them this time of year. So maybe that's just. Maybe after that, I'll start thinking, let's go back to spring training or something. Mm-hmm. But my little road trips are usually consumed with going away. Now college game, like tomorrow in Tampa. So,
you making the trip?
Yeah, we're gonna go. We're gonna go. So we're gonna go later tonight. I'm telling you, I won't get to all of them because I'm going to the Combine in a couple of weeks, and actually I'm kind of bummed I'm going to miss that one because it starts their conference play for Kaylee. The good thing is for, like, obviously Ty's redshirting, so he's not playing, so we're not split up this year. Mm-hmm. That will be a challenge, but it's a good challenge if fortunate to both be playing. But I will miss, like, their conference. I'm figuring out this junior college stuff. Like, this past weekend, I finally saw what it looked like. Like what good junior college play is. And we have a lot of the teams in the conference that are good. So they open conference play the day we'll be at the Combine that Tuesday. And so I'll miss like the first couple of games of conference. But outside of that, like I think maybe the draft, there'll be another time where I might miss. But we're going to make a lot of games. We're going to make a lot of games. They play 60 of them, and we're going to make a lot of them, which we like doing. I'm going to talk about this a little bit on No Gate Fees later on today. Like I went to Providence yesterday, your alma mater, and Steph wanted to go. Steph's been to like every Creekside game so far. We stopped by on a Friday night. We're empty nesting, so we stopped by the. I didn't work on a Friday a couple weeks ago. They had the black and red and black game, whatever they call it, which is basically just a scrimmage. So we're just like, hey, what the hell? Let's go watch some ball. And that's what we do. A Friday before, by the way, we were at the school. We were watching like a basketball doubleheader between Bartram and Creekside. Like I've jumped like 20 years in my life. I'm just going to be like this. I already told them. I said, put a chair behind home plate, and I'll be there. Like from the time I'm 52 to 75, or whenever I die, I'll just be there. I'm gonna be that guy.
Goodness,
I don't mind being that guy. Like that's cool. Just watch some ball, but. Steph's been to all of it. She's went to the preseason game with another mom. I didn't go to all that. But yesterday they were at Providence. It's a good game, right? Providence Creekside. And so then there's also soccer over there. So I was like, well, I want to go over. And there was a thought that Ty might even come up to go to that game. So I didn't even know if he was or not. So I was like, okay, I'll pop over, get some video of that game. And turns out I got Providence baseball against Creekside. I got Providence soccer, and I got Providence lacrosse. It was all happening right there. I was like, this is golden. I got it all yesterday.
That's your sports dream.
Yeah, that's right.
At least work-wise.
I was shooting them all, baby. And I got good timing, too, because I was staying there for the baseball at first. And then I was like, okay, I'll get the soccer eventually. Well, it was 4-0 when I got over to the soccer. I was like, give me a goal. Please give me a goal. And then I'm wrestling with the timing because it's almost halftime in the lacrosse game. There's only a couple minutes to go. And so I'm going back and forth. Like if you were just watching me, I'm pivoting between the soccer and the lacrosse field. You know the setup over there?
Yeah.
Now, I'm kind of like, I have to move, though. I can't just sit in one spot and do it. But I'm just like, give me a goal in lacrosse and give me a goal in soccer, please. Before this halftime, I'm not staying through halftime. Like, I'm not doing it. And I got it. So that's money when you get there. And you can get a goal in soccer and you don't have to be there for an hour.
Yeah.
They had 8 of them, by the way, so they had plenty of goals. I guess I could have stayed the final couple minutes and got even more in the soccer. They might have scored more goals in soccer than they did in lacrosse. Anyway, it's a good local sports night. I love those nights. This is a great time of year. We've got high schoolers playing all over the place. We got basketball and boys and girls. We got soccer, boys and girls. Obviously, all the spring sports starting up as well. But what I was getting at is I walk into the Providence Creekside game, and one of the folks like, man, you guys just can't stay away. And I'm like, what's wrong with this? Like, we like watching ball. Mm-hmm. Plus, we know a lot of the kids that are still on the team. Like, what? It's funny. I thought, I wondered if once the kids graduated, if we would still go to games and stuff. But it's more than just watching the kids play. We like watching, Creekside play. Mm-hmm. Because we know everybody. Or know people, or watch like the programs. That's what I like about high school sports right now. Now, it doesn't always happen because people jump around, but you're not getting that in college. It's really hard. See this Flagler shirt I got on? Who knows in 3 years if I'll be wearing a Flagler shirt or 2 years? I mean, that's just the way college is. I mean, you might go through. Don't buy a lot. We know parents that already bought stuff for Christmas. And they're already at a different school.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And by the way, a lot of that's out of their control. I'm not criticizing. Just saying that's the way it goes with all this transient nature in college sports. I would love to know when we look up at 10 years, 2035, what's the stay rate of an athlete in college sports that they went through 4 years and graduated from that place? I would love to know. The number is going to be insanely low.
Yeah.
Insanely low. And maybe higher than we think. We just hear about the noise of that. But anyway, that'll be part of No Gate Fees today as we talk a little high school ball. But more importantly, you got a dub last night.
We did. 17-2.
17-2. So you like what you saw? See, I like the 2. 17, my guess is you got walked a lot. They made some errors probably. I can't imagine you hit it for 17 in the first game of the year.
No.
But the good thing for you, and you're the pitching coach, right?
Yep.
Is that you guys threw strikes.
We threw the ball over the plate.
That's all that matters. It's high school baseball, man. Throw strikes and field it.
That's right. No errors.
No errors.
That's
impressive in the early going.
And 2 walks on the night.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, that's a good night. That's good baseball.
It's good baseball.
Yeah, that's you can tolerate that.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, I was watching that Creekside game. They had 5 guys picked off. I was like, Kinger's going to have them running this morning.
Didn't that happen in the playoffs last year?
I don't know. I don't want to bring up the playoffs last year. We'll talk more high school stuff later today, 2 o'clock. We have No Gate Fees. The show it's really cool, by the way, it's bigger than just high school baseball and softball. It's mostly guided toward there, to be honest with you. And I know that's not for everybody. I get it. But we put out a 1-sheet, and we're still gathering some information. But one of the things we asked, or what topic would you like us to talk about? And really that show is about youth sports. One of the reasons we started it, about youth sports and the topics. That's why it's called No Gate Fees, because you pay so much to get into your kids' games. But it was neat to see some of the responses we got from some of the coaches at what are the topics they would like to talk about. And we're still gathering a lot of sheets. I only got probably, 20%, 15% of the sheets back. Mm-hmm. And that's just because I delivered them kind of late. So over the course of the year, I think we'll have some really good topics. And Jonathan Murphy scheduled to join us today in the 2 o'clock hour from Trinity Christian. And they clearly have the best team in the area. There's no questions asked about that. So we will talk about that later today, 2 o'clock on the network. You can find it at actionsportshacks.com. Really been pushing actionsportshacks.com because it's the easiest way now to say it to you, and you can find it. And you're going to have more content there as well, including Daniel Griffiths, who's been contributing. Yesterday, we were talking Brian Thomas Jr. Today, the topic's going to be Jarrian Jones. So we'll get into that a little bit later when Austin joins us. Probably save that for right around noon. Now, don't go anywhere until then, but Jarrian Jones conversation coming up around noon. Black and Teal said Shad Khan purchases Jacksonville Fairgrounds for $15 million. I saw that today. I don't know why I didn't. I knew that yesterday, but I didn't know the parking part yesterday. Yeah. I just must not have read deep enough into the story. I just saw that actually coming in, that it was for parking. And that's fascinating in a way, right? Just reading the headline. $15 million purchase for parking.
He'll make it back in a day.
Yeah. Well, so that means he owns the lot?
Yeah.
For whatever, like, I don't know. I should know more. I really don't care that much about how the economics work on the parking side of things. I know some of you probably do. But of all the things Shad Khan is involved with, the parking in the fairgrounds is not on the high part of my list. But I wonder how that part works. And I still wonder what I said yesterday. Could that mean someday it looks different, right? Is there something? That's a big piece of property. And sure, okay, parking now, but what about later on? So that's kind of fascinating. I wonder what the ROI on that is for Shad. Like when you do the math on the parking at $15 million, like how long does that have to take for all the events that go to Jacksonville and the fairgrounds to recoup that money and start making money off it? I would have no idea, but I think it would be an interesting one to look at.
How many cars do you think you could fit in there?
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't even have a good number. I mean, are we talking thousands? Probably. Right? You got to believe. That's a big spot.
Yeah. You could probably rake in like $350,000 per Jags game.
What do you think, about $35 a pop?
Yeah. About 1,500 cars.
And so how much would that be?
Like $350.
Yeah. And that's for one event?
Per game, per home game, Jags.
Are you sure you did the math right there?
I just did
So you did $35 times 1,500, and that's what or even just do it by 1,000. Yeah, I guess that would be 30. No, that's why can't I do math? Yeah, I guess
oh no, I did it per year.
Yeah, because you did 35. Yeah, you were doing times 10.
7 home games.
But that's not the point. Is that's not the only. Those aren't the only events.
Right.
You could do. So again, let's just say you're right. Over that year time, I mean, they got to do. There's probably $1 million a year in parking at the least to be able to get that back in the long term, or at least in a reasonable amount of time. Hey, that's why we don't do this for a living. Okay, we're not going to do math here on the show. We know that doesn't work very well, but it would be fascinating to see. And there's got to be something bigger down the road plan. That's the immediate solution for parking. I get it, because that's a little bit of a problem when you're building and taking away a lot of the parking. But I wonder if there's more to it. Could you eventually build garages wherever, the one over the lake they were talking about? And then does that alleviate that piece of land for whatever else? 13 acres of it. Yeah, do the math. So you can put a lot of things on 13 acres is the point, right? If you want to continue to build and as you expand downtown. So there is that. The Jags, Josh Williams, I got to be honest with you here, right? If this is the coaching search, and we get the Jags put out, they interviewed so-and-so. We're like diagnosing this thing for yesterday, today, into tomorrow, onto the next one. I ain't doing that with the GM. Like, Josh Williams. Okie dokie. San Francisco. The buzz today is that Josina Anderson. I'm not going to get on Josina. I'm not going to do it. But she hit me back in the football season one time. So I was like, I'm not doing this. But I will say this, because I know she's not listening to the show. But what are these reports she's pushing out? They don't say anything. This would just be like me sharing, hey, I'm hearing that this could be happening. We'll let you know if it happens in a couple of weeks. Like, it's very much like that.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, she's not really reporting anything. She's reporting like it could happen or it might be happening. But there's nothing concrete. Go ahead. What does she say?
I'm told that the Jaguars have formally expressed interest in interviewing a former NFL GM for their current vacancy, per sources. We'll see if that interest manifests into organizing dialogue in a formal setting. Interestingly enough, a league source gave me the name of a former NFL GM to keep an eye on through the Jags GM process 2 weeks ago.
So, I mean, is she reporting the first sentence that they have formally put in a request for a former GM? Like, is that the report?
Yeah.
And then she's like, she doesn't know who.
Right.
Or well, she thinks she knows who, but she's not going with it.
Right.
People
freaking out that it was John Robinson.
Yeah, and what's weird about this whole thing is, okay, why would you interview, everybody else is new in the game in terms of the first-time GM. And now you're going to circle back to the old or the retread. And is that just for let's gather some more information? Is that real? Do you not like what you're getting? Are you concerned about that? And yeah, I get it. Nathan Dean says our yard line Yoda guy, which, with all due respect to him, I'm not going with that completely. But he's had some nuggets. Throwing a lot of stuff out there, yard line Yoda is.
Oh, yeah.
Like a lot of stuff to the point where it's like, okay, I might hire somebody to keep track of yard line Yoda's hit rate. Right? I might do that.
He and Elon Musk are going for most tweets in a year.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday. And by the way, I'm in that competition usually. Does he have somebody that tweets for him, Elon Musk? Can you actually tweet as much as Elon does and still do the stuff that he's apparently doing?
And doesn't he have like 10 kids?
Does he? Yeah, I have no idea. But anyway, Joe Douglas is what Yardline Yoda says. Could be an assistant GM under Ian Cunningham, though. What are we just making stuff up here? How do we know that?
Yeah.
How do we know that? We're one interview in. How do we know that? Yeah, Nathan, you've been all over. Dude, you can get on it. I'll send you something. I want to know the hit rate on Yardline Yoda. All right? Because there's a lot of stuff on the wall right now, which is okay. You're allowed to do it. We can't just throw it against the wall like that. Oh, shoot, we could. But so everybody's like freaking out in the last, not everybody, the diehard, like Twitter Jags person is going back and forth that it might be John Robinson.
Right.
But first of all, here's the thing that...
Ex-Titans GM, by the way.
Yeah. And here's the thing it says to me. First of all, nobody's going to like anybody that's a retread GM.
Right.
Because it ain't like Howie Roseman quit the Eagles or Brett Veach quit the Niners. Like the guy failed. So you're not going to like it. There's nothing to like. But I don't believe that person's getting a GM. If they have 10, which is what Rappaport said, they are all new guys other than this newcomer that might be the old guy or a retread guy. So if that's the case, then aren't they leaning toward the new fresh blood guy? Absolutely. So I think I think it doesn't work. It's not a big deal to me that they're interviewing a guy that's been in the job before. I think that's an information gatherer. And maybe what you guys are suggesting on the chat here with Yardline Yoda is maybe there's more infrastructure for an assistant. Although I do think that could still be Ethan Waugh. You got him in the building. Mm-hmm. And so how much does a Joe Douglas, if that's the name, or a John Robinson or whoever, add to that mix as an assistant guy and the infrastructure and the experience factor? I don't know. They have to figure that out. But also, I'm like okay with it. No, nobody. It's okay. It's okay. I don't want the retread as the. I'm at the point right now that I've seen so many names that are new names. I want the new name instead of the retread guy. So Black and Teal says Yardline Yoda getting way too much attention on our show here, but 60% of the time, all-time hit rate. YLY we're going with now. Said it sounds like top 3 are Cunningham, Gladstone, and keeping Ethan Waugh. Ethan Waugh, what did I say last week? I'd be stunned if Ethan Waugh is the next general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'd be stunned if Ethan Waugh is not involved still with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's getting the job, but I could be wrong on that. YLY might have a little bit more information. Where are you at on this? Like, are we hungry? Everybody's starving for a little bit of stuff.
Yeah.
I will give you some things. I don't know if the Jags want this out there or not. Let me just double check. Did they say, like, don't say anything? No, they did not. So I think I can share. The coordinators are going to be available tomorrow for the Jags. So we'll get a chance to talk to those guys. That'll be our first introduction to Grant Udinsky and Anthony Campanile, and obviously we know Heath Farwell very well. So that'll be good.
That'll be fun.
Right? I think people will be interested in that. Like Udinsky and Campanile and how they're going to, just that first impression of what's it sound like, right? And what you grab onto, and people will be excited about that, I think. I'll be fascinated to see it. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be in town because I didn't know this was coming up, or I would have probably stayed in town. But we'll be there with Action Sports Jacks and get that one to you right during the show tomorrow. So we'll have some instant reaction to these guys talking. But there is that. But I think we're in wait-and-see mode on this GM. I think it's hard to get excited about too much on the GM. I think people are fine with Cunningham. I think there was an excitement level about the Gladstone guy out of the Rams because of the youth and because of the Rams, quite frankly, are as much as the Eagles are an organization that you would want to mimic, and that's cool, you should, or the Ravens or the pedigree of that. The Rams right now carry a lot of intrigue as an organization.
Yeah.
They really do.
They just crushed the draft.
Yeah, they really have. But again, to do what they did, where we question, you throw everything at your first round picks away for go get stars. Wow, right? And then you replenish the way you did. And by the way, the Eagles are doing that, right? The Eagles say, okay, we're going to go get these guys, and we're going to draft very well, and we're going to replenish. We're going to grab your draft picks. We're going to win trades. We're going to do all that stuff. So those two organizations, man, they're masterful at it. Like, this doesn't feel, even though the Rams are not a dynasty, the dynasty is the Chiefs, but the Chiefs don't get rated.
Right.
Isn't that wild?
Yep.
It was kind of like the Patriots. The Patriots, they tried to be duplicated. Did the NFL learn that you can't really duplicate what the Patriots are doing, and you can't really duplicate what the Chiefs are doing, because you can't duplicate the coach and the quarterback combo?
Right.
Is that what they're figuring out? So you got to go elsewhere?
I don't know if the NFL has figured that out. I don't think they look at the Patriots as a one sample, as look, it couldn't be the Patriots dynasty couldn't be duplicated, so we're really going to stay away from any team that wins multiple championships as far as rating or trying to implement their exact strategy. For the Chiefs, I think so much of it is attributed to, their coach, because you could make an argument that they haven't. I mean, they've done well in the draft. They've done well in roster construction, but they have not done as well as the Rams or the Eagles, just based off of how much better they've gotten in off seasons, based off of what they have and what they're able to do. The Chiefs, that doesn't, obviously, however, how good you do in the offseason doesn't necessarily translate on the field. Most times it does. But the Chiefs have, in a lot of ways, because of how good Mahomes is, because of how good their culture is, and Andy Reid, they've done better than their offseason suggests. So I think it could be a little bit more about that. And you look at how much teams have gotten better over the offseason, and the Rams and the Eagles have done better in their off seasons than the Chiefs have.
Yeah, but keep in mind the Bucs also got rated way more than the Chiefs too, right? I mean, pretty wild. So it's just an interesting deal. And I do think just because you have a dynasty doesn't mean you can duplicate it. Who has been rated on the Chiefs. Part of the reason they have a dynasty is they're keeping it all together.
Right.
Spagnuolo can't get a job as a head coach. He just keeps winning Super Bowls as a defensive coordinator. Nagy's in a good spot now, and their offensive staff understands Reed. Obviously, it didn't work out when he was a head coach. So these guys have tried. Now they come back. It's like Nick Saban in Alabama is what it feels like, right? Where you're like, hey, they go, and then they come back to you. And that's where they cleanse the losing of wherever they were.
Yeah.
From Kiffin to
Bill O'Brien,
Sarkisian to Bill O'Brien. Like, they all did it.
Yep.
And end up at their next thing. But what it does is it just strengthens the dynasty. And while everybody else is getting ripped apart, you're like, wait a minute, you're keeping the best team together all the time. Yeah. It's pretty wild, right? Pretty wild deal. Hey, I do think the 19th is when we'll have the GM next week. I'm going to stay on that. We have the envelope game, so send them in. sports@actionnewsjacks.com is the email, sports@actionnewsjacks.com. Who's your pick in the envelope game for the GM? I know so many of you guys are going to be influenced now by Yardline Yoda and go Ian Cunningham, because that's who he thinks. We'll see if he's right. And Nathan Dean, if you want to get Action Sports Jack social media burner account analytics specialist, you want to get business cards, I'll buy them. I'm not sure we can legally do that, but maybe get one just for fun. Maybe not too many of them. That would be that's a heck of a title right there. That is a heck of a title, and one maybe we do need. Here and there. Let's take a time out here on the show. We'll catch you up with some of the things going on. Austen joined us on the back end of the show, so we'll save some things for him, like an Aaron Rodgers conversation you guys got into a little bit yesterday. Even he has some thoughts on NBA and NHL, some topics, not necessarily where everybody stands as we speak. And we will say if there's a Jarian Jones conversation teed up for us from Daniel Griffiths today. So we'll dive into that. That's an interesting conversation because do the Jags have that spot settled? You know, and remember, it was a big question on Jarrian Jones going in to the season, or at least like when they drafted him. Mm-hmm. Is he going to play nickel, or can you move him outside? Mm-hmm. And it looks like he's going to be your nickel guy. And it looks like they've got a good player. Is he a great player? I don't think we know that yet. Like, this isn't a slam dunk. But I do think he's a good player. And I like his attitude. We like a lot of the makeup of him. I think he's quickly become a fan favorite here in Jacksonville. And hopefully that play matches that. But if you do go plug one more corner in, now you think you're pretty dynamic there. And that's what we talked a little bit about yesterday. When we talk about this 5th overall draft pick, it's hard not to eye the corner position and say, well, we could be pretty good in that spot here in Jacksonville if they go get a stud corner. But you got to make sure he's a stud. What I say is that dude Jalen Ramsey? Because if he's Jalen Ramsey, go get him. We'll figure out the interior and all that other stuff in a bit. Mm-hmm. But if he's Jalen Ramsey, go get him. Because in free agency, you're not finding Jalen Ramsey. But in the draft, you might be able to get the next Jalen Ramsey. That's the point. But you better be right. We'll be back. When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models, or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway, or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness. And most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC. We are professional grade.
2024 provided plenty of memorable moments for the Jacksonville Armada on the pitch, including another conference championship game appearance for Tommy Kruzanovich's under-23 men's team.
It's in the dying moments.
Debuting this year for the first time, the girls in blue, as the Armada fielded a women's under-23 side in the WPSL and made its presence known with some highlight moments.
Potential goal of the season.
Then attention turned to the future. with MLS Next teams representing the Armada badge in 3 age divisions this fall, including an under-19 squad ranking among the best in the state. Those teams are a big focus on Fleet and Footy, covering the big soccer stories each week on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the Fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, you can save $500 on a Connecticut Premier Softener and get a free Connect Salt Monitor with purchase. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around, and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter First Coast a call at 904-417-3557 or look them up at first-coast.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with that one painter First Coast on your team.
When it comes to trucks, I know exactly what I want. And at Bozard Ford, they make it easy to get exactly that. Let's go make this truck a little more my style. With Bozard Built, I can create my perfect truck right here. Lift kit? Check. Premium wheels? You bet. Advanced lighting package? Oh yeah. The Bozard team works their magic. From bumper to tailgate, I'm making this truck mine. It's everything that I wanted and more. From the field to the gym to weekend adventures. This truck's built for my journey. Bozard Built. Customized for your lifestyle, built to exceed your expectations. Check out the inventory and available options at bozardbuilt.com. Unleash your dream ride. Customized, covered, and Bozard approved.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Well, look at the right field there at the baseball grounds. Bragan Field at 121 Financial Ballpark. I think it's got all those names still. And that's the right field stuff. That's pretty cool.
It's like the Battery.
Yeah. So
At Truist.
Is that what it looks like?
To me.
That's interesting. I don't know. I mean, I've been there many times, but like not in the out on the right field side,
Yeah.
or you mean just out in like the center piece of the Battery?
No, that's exactly what. Slightly smaller, but that's pretty much what right field at Truist looks like.
Maybe they mimicked. I'm going to be over there Monday and go take a look at some of it, and I'll ask them that. Maybe it's got a little influence from there, and so that shot that the Shrimp put out. This will be ready to go by April. I think April 1st is the home opener, in fact. And so you'll have some seating there, like that terracey kind of feel. Mm-hmm. And then there are also like spots for offices and other things underneath it. There's also, I believe, a pro shop out there, a merchandise shop in that area. And what's happening out there in center is like you'll be able to enter from out there, which actually makes a lot of sense because a lot of people park out that way. So now you can enter from both sides, home plate and center field, building kind of that Disney kind of entranceway, if you will. From my understanding, if I have all that correct, I think that's it. That's a $30 million investment that they've built. Last year they did some things, the ribbon boards and everything else, and now on top of it.
That's the chop house here.
Okay, so that's what, this is on the left field side?
Right field, same spot.
Oh, this is right field side, okay.
Yeah. So you have like the restaurants and whatever that you can go under.
Yeah.
Right.
I see what you're saying. That was pretty good. That, maybe that's a little bit of the feel. And they've done a great job over there at the Shrimp. And they also have a new manager, David Carpenter.
Former Brave,
former Yankee, former National,
things.
former Blue Jay, former Ranger. I think I'm missing one team. Played for 6 teams. Pitched 222 games in his career.
more rare to see a former pitcher being a manager in the minors, especially in the minors.
That's a good call. Yeah, I never really thought of it like that. You get a lot of catchers.
You get a lot of catchers. You get just position players.
Do you get some position players? Like, I wonder what position. Like catcher stands out, right? From Joe Torre to Mike Matheny to you name it. Joe Girardi.
Yep.
Who's the old Phillies guy? Like way back in, was it Fregosi or something like that? Wasn't he like one? I mean, all these guys popping in my mind, and it's like catcher. That's a really good point. Never thought of that.
Matheny.
Yeah, Matheny I mentioned. I wonder where the next position is for a big league manager.
It should be pitchers.
Well, I don't know. Here's you know what the problem with pitchers are? They're goofy. No, they are. Like they're weird. So here's the thing. Here's what I would ask. And by the way, I say that in a loving way. But pitchers, man, they're hanging out in the bullpen. You go check in with those guys. They ain't like the rest of us.
David Ross, Stephen Vogt.
So yeah, Ross, you're right. I mean, look at all the catchers. You can control the game back there. So it makes sense. But
apparently, almost 50% of managers are former catchers.
Are you looking that up? Like you saw that?
That's what this says. Yeah.
Wow, that is a huge number. Huge number. So I would equate it to this: the pitcher to me is a lot like the goalie in hockey, and I have no idea about this. I wouldn't even be able to list names, most likely. But are there a lot of goalies that are now coaches in hockey? And I'm not talking a goalie coach. I'm talking about like the head coach. I don't know that. That's why I think you don't get a lot of pitchers. But I never really thought about it in that context. That's a really good call. And what do you have in football? Former players, are they linebackers? Jack Del Rio? Antonio Pierce?
You get linebackers like D'Amico Ryans, and then you get quarterbacks.
Quarterbacks like Doug? Who are former players right now? Kellen Moore?
Yep.
Sorry, I didn't play in the league. So many guys don't play.
Yeah.
That are in it now with the analytics and everything else. Cohen is a quarterback.
Like Harbaugh, like Jim.
Harbaugh, quarterback. Which doesn't surprise me, right? I mean, you're the quarterback, you're the CEO of the team. If you're the main pitcher, if you're the number one pitcher on a baseball team, you're not the CEO of the team. Mm-hmm. That's the point. Really, you're the catcher is.
I think Ben Johnson made it. I think he maybe he didn't play
Ben
in the
Johnson
NFL.
a court? Really?
I know he didn't. I mean, he wasn't college.
He looked like an accountant. I would never imagine him playing in the league. Yeah, that's pretty wild, though.
I feel like safeties sometimes.
Who else? You got an example?
Well, I know at the college level, like Kirby Smart and Saban, that were both DBs.
They're secondary guys. Yeah. I wonder if that changes from college to the NFL.
You got Vrabel as an end.
Yeah, linebacker-ish.
Yeah.
They didn't have more of that linebacker feel to me.
O'Connell, another quarterback.
That's it.
Did Todd Bowles play in the league?
I don't know.
Yeah, he did.
Was he a secondary guy?
Golly.
Can't find it?
No.
Oh, John Lynch, safety, good call. Well, he's not a coach, but he's in the front office. I'm trying to think of somebody that like a lineman, like Andy Reid.
Just because he's big doesn't mean he's a lineman.
Well, but he was like when he played, but I don't think he. There's that goofy video of him playing, right?
Yeah. He was 14. You talking about the punt, pass, and whatever?
Yeah. But he's not like in the league. But
Aaron Glenn, another DB.
Oh, Glenn, yeah. So there you go. So you're talking. So some secondary guys, linebacker heavy,
Quarterback. Heavy, and then just
Campbell
savants.
tight end. Good job, Hamby's burner. Yeah, and Malarkey was a tight end too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to think of like, have we had an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman be a head coach? We had to have. I'm just saying, like, well, can you name one? Can you think of one? A running back, a wide receiver. I mean, even Dion's a secondary guy. Oh, Doug Marone. Good call, Delphonic. Yeah, just joined in. Look at you. Already delivering.
Jeff Saturday. But that was a kind of a
Saturday. Yeah, that's kind of a funny one, though.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, that guy more, yeah, he's lineman and TV guy.
Right.
So primarily, so if you look at the sports, again, I don't have a good feel for the NHL and NBA. I don't really think there's a distinction in the NBA, but I would assume point guard, like Jason Kidd, didn't he just resign, or he's resigning?
Is he?
Mike Tomlin, is that you talking about, Big Mike? Big Mike. Who's Mike? Big Mike. Who's Big Mike?
I don't know.
Mike McCarthy?
Talking about Vrabel?
Nah, I don't think he's talking about Vrabel. But even if you go backwards, I'm trying to think, like, go backwards to some of the coaches. Like, you could get some older guys that you'd forget that they even played or something. But if you go to old quarterbacks, like even so, will you not have the star quarterback coach? So it's always going to be like a backup of something. You're not going to have so you get quarterbacks and you get linebackers. You can get star linebackers, it seems like, but you're not going to. What position did Anthony Lynn play?
I don't know.
Was he a secondary guy or a running back? Because he always coached. It seems like he always came from the offensive side. Be a good one to look up. But
Flores.
Yeah, so listen, these guys all might have put. I guess what's interesting to me, like in baseball, like Joe Girardi was a good player. Mike Matheny was a good player. Like Joe Torre back in the day, good player. So you could get good players. I'm not sure like they're Hall of Fame players.
Craig Counsell comes to mind. Alex Cora.
But I mean, think about this. Ted Williams managed. Like he managed back in the day.
Yeah.
Right? So you would get like good players, really good players, and even great players that would jump into the managerial role in baseball. You do get that in basketball now a little bit. Jason Kidd is a great example. I mean, so you do get some of that. But in football, I don't feel like you get that. Jack Del Rio is a good player. D'Amico Ryan's a very good player. Vrabel, very good player. But is that like as high as you get to go coach? Because then you get like the backup quarterback or the guy that was just okay, and that's fine. You made it to the league. You made it to the league. But yeah, Anthony Lynn, James saying running back. Yeah, that's it. Why is that? And I think there are some really logical reasons why that is. I don't know if we were planning on this topic today, but here we go. All because of the shrimp. Naming Dave Carpenter. It's my favorite part of doing these shows. Is the fact that like we have nothing planned, and then we say something, and it triggers this. But it's what I call organic radio.
Back on real quick on the shrimp
or streaming,
because they have all new head coach or all new coaches.
Yeah,
other than Jose Ceballos, Sebi, he's their defensive coach. He was there when I was their bat boy, 2017.
Wait a minute, 18. You did bat boy and at the shrimp?
3 years.
Get out of here.
Yeah, it was my high school job.
Get out of here.
You didn't know that?
How did I not know that? That's not on the resume?
It's on it was many years ago. I don't know if it still is. I haven't updated it in quite a while. Yeah, for 3 years, and Sebi was there. And so he's been the only guy he's probably been there 10 years now. It's almost seems like he's on a lifetime contract. The guy was awesome.
That's pretty cool. How was that bat boying?
I loved it. Yeah,
did you? I knew that's a job now. But you got to commit.
Yeah,
that's a big commitment, right? How many days did you do them all, or did you guys have like 4 different ones?
We had 6.
Wow.
I think I had the most games of everybody because there was a couple they would just do like it seemed like 10 games a year. Yeah, we had a couple of us, and I probably did. I mean, how many games is it? 140 in minors, right?
Well, now it's like 144 for AAA, I think it is.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I don't think there was that many when they were in AA. So when you were doing it in AA,
Yeah.
I don't think there was that many. But you get the idea.
Yeah. So I normally do like 45 or 50 out of 70 home games. Definitely the large majority of them.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You got paid, right?
Yeah. It was like minimum.
Yeah, like minimum wage.
But
you got to be responsible. Like that's not, and you got to get there. It's not an easy job. They want the high school kid to be able to do it, but I've looked into it before. It's not easy.
It was the best because, I mean, you always hear the stories about the former big leaguer who's on rehab assignment who, like, you have guys that came down, go clean my cleats. Okay, here's $40.
So did you get some of that?
Yeah.
They were good to you?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So I know, like, everybody, not
Phonic,
anymore.
you're right. How did I not know that? I don't know how I didn't know that. But keep in mind, I didn't hire Hamby. Listen, if I was doing the hiring, he probably wouldn't be here. All right? I get stuck with these people. I don't get a choice. Like, this has happened ever since ESPN. I think I got stuck with Kuz. We got lucky. And then we got Casey in there. And now we got Hamby in here. Like, you think I go find these people? I get stuck with these people. So I didn't hire them. Did you have it actually on your resume here when you filled it out to be a producer?
Probably not, because it's not really relevant.
I think it could be, though. That'd be a cool talking point going into an interview.
Yeah,
Look,
maybe.
I'm having fun with it. How did we not know this? Now,
3
listen,
years.
There's a chance. I'm getting older and forgetting more stuff already. Like, I can feel it.
Yeah.
So maybe Austin's got a great memory. Like, he'll remember what we talked about on a show like 4 years ago. I'm like, what the hell? How do you know that?
Yeah.
My wife does the same thing. She's like, she remembers. And I don't think I have a bad memory. Like, I've never thought that, but that might just be me. I might be in denial. So maybe we did talk. I don't feel like we've talked about this.
Oh, it was a great job. We played cards before the game with the players.
That'd be an awesome job. What time do you show up to a game at 7 o'clock?
3. It was normally like 3.
That's a long day now.
Yeah, it was only like 9 or 10 because after the game you just do a ton of stuff in the clubhouse. You're pretty much like the assistant clubby.
So you did for 3 years. So did Buddy Gray. Buddy Gray, Brucci's Pizza, bat boy for the Suns in 70, 72. I did not know that. That is awesome. Like, I seriously thought about it I saw it like advertised or something, and I was like, oh, this would be cool for Ty or even Kaylee, right? They love being around the sport, but it's like they can't do it. First of all, they're playing in high school. How did you do that?
I mean, it was primarily over the summer. They start in
May. Yeah, I guess you really just missed that first month is tricky.
Right.
But you didn't play summer ball?
One season I did, one season I didn't.
Wow.
Just rehab and stuff.
Yeah, I just think it's really hard. But you got it to work, and you did it for 3 years.
Yeah, 3 summers pretty much. And so I pretty much knew, well, I don't now because they have the biggest roster turnover, it seems like, in all of MLB. But 2020 to 2022, I knew every guy on the Marlins, the big league roster. Because it was their entire – I just worked over at Jazz and all those guys.
Yeah, so Chisholm. Who else? Who was big? Because you missed the window where it was like, I mean, this was way back where they had Stanton and
I definitely
all
missed
those
that.
guys, right?
But I mean, when they went to the playoffs in the COVID year, I knew every guy on the team.
That's cool.
And it was great because, like, when an opposing teams would come in, like say the Mississippi Braves, for example, I would request to be the away because you have a home. One in the home dugout, one in the away dugout. I request to be in the away dugout whenever they were in town. So, and I'd just hang out over there. So, I mean, I had Austin Riley's number. I had Freed. I had all those guys just because I'd hang out with them and they'd see me year after year. And so we spent some time together.
That's really cool. That must have been a lot of fun.
It was.
Overall, your impression, were the guys good? Or were you a little bit like, these guys are jerks?
Oh, no, they were great.
They were great?
No, they were great.
That's good.
They were great.
Because, listen, you got to remember.
There's always a couple of guys.
There's always a couple of guys. And by the way, they're baseball guys. I always
Right.
say that about baseball guys. You got to be careful about baseball guys. But the other thing is, they're in the minor leagues. It can be a very frustrating spot in the minor leagues. AAA actually more than AA.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you're stuck in AAA.
Because it was AA when I was there.
It was AA. So that's a little bit more prospect. Like, okay, let's go But again, it's a grind. It's not easy. People think like, wow, that's the greatest job in the world. The minor league baseball deal is not the greatest job in the world.
No.
And so it's cool that a lot of those guys were good dudes and you're kind of in it together.
Because a third of those guys are getting off-season jobs just to try and, because they have families, because they're just trying to hang on to their dream. I mean, you have a ton of that in AA, especially guys that, I mean, it's easier for guys in AAA because if they've had any big league time at all, their pay goes up significantly. But in AA, if you've never had big league time and you're on year 4, year 5, year 6, and you have a wife and kids now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we had a couple of guys come to mind that were like 28, 29 with 2 or 3 kids.
That's a tough spot.
And as soon as the season over, they get home and start a temp job.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of them might be like a painting company or something like that, right? To go, yeah, that's a real thing. Like, I think people think it's like the glory days and they're making, everybody makes millions, you play pro ball. Like, that's not it.
Yeah.
It's really not it. But that's really cool. Like, I forgot that, or I didn't know that. But that's a fun deal. There's not, like, minor league baseball is awesome. It's so cool because the people work really hard and they do a lot of jobs. I worked with the Pawtucket Red Sox for a year. And it was fantastic. But it's a great experience. It's a grinder, but it's a great experience. There's so much that's fun about it. So that's pretty neat to see. And again, that's the cool part. You do see all these different walks of life come in, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're up in the big leagues and they're winning a World Series or they're whatever else. So it's good to. That's a cool experience.
Learning the process of how the preferences of how the jumbo shrimp pitchers wanted their balls. The baseballs like made before the game because you got to rub the mud and all that stuff. So we would do that a lot. So I was kind of, some guys would like it a little bit more, some guys a little less.
Yeah, you were playing vocabulary gymnastics.
I was. I about got myself in big time trouble.
I mean,
but that's what they call it. I mean, that's what you do.
Go rewind that. And,
I saved myself.
Yeah, you did. You really did. But that's interesting that you would do like. I mean, that is a true thing, by the way. Baseballs get worked up in the dirt, much like footballs. There's a huge process to the football that gets worked up.
The water to mud ratio.
So you guys would do that?
Yeah, not every time, but some guys that have, they'd want you to do.
Yeah, that's not too surprising. Fascinating. That's pretty good stuff. So anyway, we got hit the boss button. He almost did stop. Somehow we got on this topic. It's just fascinating. Now I'm going to research it a little bit more. But the bottom line is we were asking how. Oh no, Delphonic heard it. You're in trouble. What position do guys play that are coaches in various sports? And the reason why we got on is because the Shrimp hired David Carpenter as a pitcher, and I think you're really correct there. You don't get a lot of pitchers that are managers in the big leagues. And I'm sure there are some. You just don't get a lot. And you primarily get catchers, and you looked it up as 50%. That is an insane number.
Yeah.
That comes from that position. That's an insane number. I would think middle infielders next, like the Alex Coras of the world and those guys. But really fascinating. Never really thought I've been talking sports for so long and never really thought about it. Fran Delaney. What were the umps like in the as a bat boy? They were probably pretty cool, actually.
The umps were cool because they were, you got a lot of younger guys that are on the same, but the pressure for them is the same as it is for players because they're getting, they're getting judged. They're trying to work their way up.
Yeah.
So it was actually just as, not just as cool, but a guy that I had a really good relationship with in the COVID year, he got called up to the big leagues, and then he's in the playoffs, and he's behind the plate.
Oh, cool.
So I was locked in to see how he was doing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And I'm not saying he's getting judged by the benches and by the fans. I'm saying he's getting judged by that's like his working up the ladder.
Yeah.
I still think, I actually think about this for Ty. I never really talked to him much about it because you just kind of let the kids do whatever they want to do. But I actually think what Fran's he runs a lot of the umpiring in the area. And so we like to give him a hard time. But he's great. And I always, we have the best umpiring schools right down in Orlando.
Yeah.
Right? And that'd be a cool job to go, if you aspired to go.
I umped in high school too for 2 years.
Yeah, and then, listen, there's a lot of you need that. We need high school umpires, right? We need high school officials. But there are some people that really just say, hey, I want to go after that and go do it. And that's an interesting profession. Now, it's a tricky one. It's hard. Everybody can sit there and say they want up in the big leagues. That is a hard thing to do. Like, you'll be really good, but what an interesting path that would be to choose, to stay in the sport. And once you're, if you can get to that kind of level, it's a great fraternity to be in as well. I mean, look at the guys that are umpiring. They're in it for decades
30
and decades
years.
and
It feels
decades.
like being a play-by-play broadcaster in the big leagues.
If you make it. So, again, not easy, though. You can just say, you can't just be, oh, yeah, I want to go do that. No way.
Yeah.
You can't just do that. So
one more thing on that, one of the best parts of the job is because you stand next to the manager, right, to be the bat boy.
Yeah.
Right, so when there's a back and forth,
you hear it all.
You hear every single word.
That must be awesome, actually.
It's incredible, but if it's your team, you're standing there like this because it's hilarious.
It's
you didn't get screwed. It wasn't you. So it's so you got to contain yourself because the guy's standing right next to you.
That's wild.
That's awesome.
Oh, that'd be good stuff. That's cool, man. I like
got a lot
that.
of sea stories from those days.
Yeah. That's what it's all about. That's kind of what life's all about in many ways. So, Nathan, have a good day, man. Go track down Yardline Yoda, please, for us, and keep us up to date on any analytics. Cedric says, "Thank you, Black and Teal. Need Eden Cunningham. Hopefully Friday." Oh, you've got it moved up. I got it the next Wednesday. They got to get through like 10 interviews, folks. They're going to do 10 interviews by Friday. God bless them. So we'll see what happens with the Jags GM. All right, we'll get back on track here. And we'll head down to Daytona as well. Stuart Weber's down there. It's Daytona Media Day today. They've also got testing going on this morning. Stuart loves it. He's down there all day. We'll be down there all week. The Daytona 500 on Fox 30 on Sunday. And we've got our Road to Victory Lane presented by NHRA Gator Nationals coming up at noon on Fox 30 on Sunday as we get you ready for the Daytona 500. So there it is, Stuart Weber checking in, and hopefully we'll get a better look at that, but nice thumbs up for Weber. It looks like a beautiful day down in Daytona. We'll be right back. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. There are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
For the game day hustle and every day in between. Juggling my show, Jag Social, to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive your passion.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242. You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing. Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Right now, you can take 10% off any water heater. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Here on Spring Sports Media Day on Action Sports Jax.
It's an opportunity, an education beyond the classroom and the sports arena. Life skills, testing skills, social skills. It's called High School 912, a program focused on maximizing the growth of students in academics, sports, and life. And here's your chance to get involved. If you're a local business, or if you just want to make a donation to help support programs like ACT and SAT boot camps, career days, Leadership Academy, Financial Literacy Academy, and so much more.
All right, another Nice High School Panther, Jack Cool.
High School 912 supports and hosts high school sporting events and several media days throughout the year. For more information on how you can get involved, visit jaxhighschool912.com.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to Spring Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, welcome back here to the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network, and I'm just dressing down here these days. I got sweats on. We're just rolling into work with sweats on.
We're literally wearing the same thing. I'm wearing gray sweats and a gray shirt with a black jacket.
Yeah, I'm like I'm just doing shows all day. And then I'm getting out of here in the afternoon. And I was like, I'm just wearing sweats. Hope you don't mind, everybody. Not you. You wouldn't mind. But I mean here at work. I mean, listen, people bring their dogs to work and stuff like that. I can wear sweats. Right?
No problem.
No problem. I can until they tell me not to.
That's right.
I can't wear them on TV. That's for sure. You never know, though, if I have them on TV and you're just seeing waist up. There's been many a sportscast done in shorts and flip-flops. We hated the, used to be on the desk. And now we don't go on the desk at all. We're over in like the corner, which is fine. But so that you'd only see like from here on up, like kind of what you're seeing on this screen right now. And so you could definitely wear whatever you wanted. Well, then, like, they make the move to, like, the longer shot.
Yeah,
it's like, son of a... It's like one of the most mad... It's one of the times you're mad the most. It's like, man, now I got to wear suit pants every time. Because a lot of times, too, especially early on in the career, you're, like, out hustling and getting stuff. You're not wearing suit pants to go shoot stuff. So you come back in. Or it's, like, hot as heck around here, right? Training camp, other things. So the shorts are a good get-up. Here's a guy that's worn shorts before in his sportscasts. Probably not at Daytona. The one nice thing about Daytona, though, you wear jeans. You got to wear jeans. Buddy, great. Jason Day, he does look like he's been, what is that? I have not read up on the Jason Day stuff, but the outfits are like, he's like playing a game with us. He can't really think that the outfits he wears are good. Like, nobody can think that. Like, he is so absurd with the clothing and the sponsorship stuff or the whatever brand he's wearing. It's just crazy. It's the weirdest thing, but I haven't really done a deep dive. Maybe a good Players' Championship story if he's in the field. Look at that. Are we good? Let's go to Daytona International Speedway. That's where we find Stuart Weber. And Weber's in Victory Lane. Look at that. All right, Weber, got a beautiful day, man. You got jeans on, though, right? No shorts down there at Daytona.
Yeah, you gotta think safety first. Closed-toed shoes, long pants. You're around these cars. We got some hot mufflers. You got to worry about these things. So my legs will be a little hot, but I'll be safe. I think that's the key. And dry today. Hopefully we get more of it, but dry today.
Yeah, because tomorrow's a little sketchy, which tomorrow's a great race day with the duels, and Sunday afternoon's a little dicey. We always know this with the Daytona 500. We have experienced every weather event other than what we got like last month where the ice and snow. We've experienced tornadoes, rain, we experienced the fire on the track with, what was that, Montoya?
Yeah.
Golly.
Pablo Montoya hitting the jet dryer. I mean, we had that deluge, like one of the first couple of years I was here, where it really just like flooded. It was flooded here at the track. I remember we were hiding out in the live truck for like 6 hours because it was just so wet everywhere and just completely drenched. But yeah, we're here at Victory Lane. They just wrapped up a quick practice session in the morning, which I'm glad they did from a TV perspective. I love it because I could get some actual video of these cars out there on the track and something to go along with the interviews that we're about to get going here a little afternoon. But it was good for them to iron out the kinks. In the past couple of years, they haven't had a practice session before single car qualifying. So you could go out there and just not have any idea what your car is going to do when you get out there, which really stinks for some of those open cars who this is like their one chance of the year. But yeah, so a little hour practice session there, get the kinks out, get ready for single car qualifying here later tonight.
Yeah, and they squeeze all this in, by the way, which is cool. It's a busy Wednesday. You've got, obviously, media day. We'll talk to all the drivers, you guys, you and Olivia down there. But, hey, by the way, Stuart, from a background standpoint, he loves the NASCAR stuff. He went down to New Smyrna and was watching the races on Monday night, by the way. And he's been a lot of different tracks around the country. He does Cup Date at 1 o'clock for a reason. He really loves the racing. And I always say this, and last year it didn't feel like we had as much as this. Year to year, there's always these, it seems like monster changes in the sport. I don't feel like we're having as many of those in the last couple of years. Like, are we settled into a certain spot with NASCAR where you're not getting the monumental changes, whether it's how the playoff runs or how the cars are now or whatever, or am I just not paying close enough attention?
I would agree on the monumental side, at least for now. The funny thing with NASCAR is that it has always been that sport that is willing to change in season, even.
In season.
They won't even wait till the year's over. If they see something that they don't like, they will change it out in the season. Now, a lot of people were upset a year ago by Joey Logano winning the championship, and that was due to the format, right? Logano barely snuck in as one of those last 16 drivers, barely advanced round to round, and then he got to that final race, and he was the highest finisher. So, that is how you decide a champion. If you're among those final four in Phoenix and you beat the other three, you're the champion. So a lot of people maybe were upset about it coming down that way, but that's part of the idea, right? That's part of this playoff idea, is that you drum up the interest and you get people excited over the course of the whole season, and you still have them excited knowing that any of these four guys can go and win it on that last one. I mean, why do we love March Madness? Because anybody can go and make a run. By the way, you talk about some of those monumental changes. If you want to talk about one this year, it's the media rights. So they changed it up a little bit to where, you had Fox and NBC on the front and back end of the season. There's a 10-race segment in the middle of the season, 5 on Prime Video, 5 on TNT. So over the course of those 5 on Prime Video, they're going to average out the finishes, and the top 32 average from those 5 will then compete in a bracket in those next 5 to see who wins $1 million. So it's kind of like an in-season tournament. You have that in the NBA now.
Yeah, very similar.
It's going to be literally head-to-head, though. So, like, if you finish 35th, but the guy that you're matched up with in the bracket finishes 36th, you're moving on in the bracket. So that's going to be interesting to watch. And that was one of those things, those new TV partners, you're getting middle-of-the-season races, but you're getting a little juice added to it, right? You're getting some stuff that is going to be interesting and have a little intrigue. So that was part of the deal that NASCAR wanted.
That's actually pretty cool, and I think that's great for betting, right?
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Isn't that where that's really what's coming into play here? I would think just hearing about that, because you're right. So you got a bracket of 32, whatever it is, and you've got. Let's see let's not go 1 versus 32. Let's just go 1 versus 32. You go 1 versus or 16 versus 17. Maybe that's a more fun way to do it.
Sure.
So you get 16 versus 17, and so that next race, you got the race, the normal stuff. You're trying to figure out the winner, the stage winners, everything else, but you're also going 16 versus 17, right? So you've got the game within a game there, and then that driver, your favorite driver, whatever it is, advances. But the point is you don't need a favorite driver here, because NASCAR is so much built around favorite driver, and I don't know if you have enough favorite drivers right now. It's a new wave of favorite drivers that you're trying to get into. The diehard fan does, but the average fan does not, because we've lost a lot of big names in the sport over the last decade, quite frankly, that people are used to. So this actually maybe helps identify another favorite driver too, because, hey, if they help you win a little bracket or something, you're like, I like that guy.
Oh, yeah. And I will say they have had that kind of betting for a couple years now. You've been able to
head-to-head?
You've been able to place head-to-head bets for a while. So that's been part of it, and that's been building, right, for that exact reason. The same reason that, sometimes there's now fantasy stuff in the postseason. You want to keep betting even if your team's out of it, or you've lost interest in the regular season, so to speak. So that has been building here over the last couple of years for sure. We had a lot of driver changes going on this offseason. We'll certainly I'm actually going to tweet that out here in just a second, a little video, a little taster for the cup date coming up at 1 o'clock that kind of details the big driver changes, because we had a whole 4-car team just up and dissolve,
Wow.
and so that kind of sent things scrambling, right? Stewart Haas Racing decided at the end of the year, all right, we're done with this 4-car thing. So they sold 3 of their charters. They kept 1, which created another new team entirely. So that's been a big part as far as the driver changes, everybody moving around this past offseason.
Well, Stuart Weber down in Daytona. He's in Victory Lane. You got to go. Let me know whenever you got to go. I know noon, I think, is when the media day starts. But what's the team setting right now? I mean, Hendrick is always Hendrick. It seems like you've got Joe Gibbs Racing, or what? I mean, where are we? Are there just dominant teams? Is it haves and have-nots? Is it Major League Baseball, or is it more? Even the NFL was haves and have-nots this year, but the idea of anybody can get it. Like, have the rules and how this all shook out over the last however many years, have they really favored the power teams and the team in general? Or is it still an individual type thing where you still got to have a really good driver? Where does that, in your opinion, driver versus team?
I've been kind of waiting for it to swing back towards the dominant teams, simply because of the fact that when you came out with this new next-gen car, I think it's been three, maybe 4 years now that they brought it out, it really leveled the playing field, because so much was similar between team to team. You would think over time, the well-funded teams, the more prominent teams, and you said, you got your big 3, Hendrick, Penske, Gibbs. That's the 3 manufacturers with your Hendrick with Chevy, Penske with Ford, Gibbs with Toyota. But I will say this, one of the things we saw this offseason was a couple of those next teams are adding third cars to their outfits. So you talk about 2311. That's the one co-owned by Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin. They go and add a third team to their stable. RFK Racing, which was Roush Racing forever, it's the one Keselowski's involved with. They add a third car. Front Row Motorsports goes and adds a third car. Spire adds a third car. So you're talking about these teams kind of building up that were maybe 1 and 2 team outfits, now getting to 3. And when you get to 3, you're able to learn a lot more from the guys. And one other point on that, you mentioned the top 3, right? A lot of these smaller teams have partnerships with those bigger groups. So they're leaning on them a little bit. And, while you might think of Joe Gibbs as the big Toyota team, 2311 is getting support from them. We're working together a little bit. Legacy Motorsports is trying to work with the other Toyota guys as well. So the lower ones still are working with the higher ones within a manufacturer. So that's part of it. And still, the last 3 championships was won by Penske. Before that, it was Hendrick. So, the big ones are still winning championships. But, last year, half the drivers won a race. So you're seeing that kind of parity in NASCAR right now.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's a good thing. All right, I'll let you go with this. Give me who's the star of the sport right now? Is it Elliott?
It's Kyle Larson.
Or Larson? But
Kyle
even
Larson.
like popularity-wise, everything else?
I mean, Chase.
He might be the
they're
best
on the
driver,
same-
right? Like Larson's like Jimmy Johnson kind of driver, right?
Right. He is the best driver, but he's only got the one championship. So does Chase. I mean, Hendrick really wants to go out there and get another championship this year. Chase has won the best driver, the most popular driver award for years now, but I don't believe that because, it's just building off of the fact that you've got all the old Bill Elliott fans, his dad,
of course, yeah.
who always won the most popular driver. So you just have that connection. But I think NASCAR is absolutely leaning on Kyle Larson to be the star of the sport. Not only is he a star in NASCAR, winning the most races, but he's also going and he's running the Indy 500 again this year. He races anything, anywhere, anytime. Last week, he was racing in the World of Outlaws on the dirt track here at Volusia, and he went and won. He beat the best in the world in the dirt track racing there. He beat him at the Chili Bowl. He is the best driver. He is the biggest star, and he should be treated as such. I mean, that's how I feel about it. I mean, he will be getting a lot of the press and pub. And we'll have a conversation with him on the Cup Date later this year.
Yeah, yes, we will. We saw a little glimpse of that yesterday here on the Brent and Austin Show on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network. Cup Date comes up at 1 o'clock with Stuart Weber. Who's the darling right now, in your opinion? Who people are like, oh, man, I really hope that person wins or wants that person to win? Is there one?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's tough. I think for me, I'll go with Shane Van Gisbergen. Just because of the wild unknown to it. He's a guy from New Zealand. He's in his 30s, but he came and won that Chicago street race a couple years ago just as a one-off. And now he's racing full-time this year for the first time with Team Trackhouse. Trackhouse, the other one that added a third, by the way. And they race on 6 road courses now in the 36 races. So I would expect him to be able to have a good season. And if he can get better on the super speedways and the intermediates, yeah. We're getting some engines revved up here, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I can hear it. That's good.
Experience getting started.
One last one for you. Who's the villain, the polarizing guy in NASCAR right now?
Say that one more time for me, sorry.
Who's the villain, the polarizing driver right now in NASCAR, and do we have enough of one?
We never have enough of them. We absolutely never have enough of them. Probably Denny Hamlin. Everybody loves booing when he wins. So, I mean, he's probably your guy. But we need more. We need more.
No, you do need more. You need more of that. You need that in sports, and you need that in NASCAR.
Yes.
All right. Hey, get out of here. Good job. We'll peek in at Daytona in the media day coming up in just a little bit. It's getting loud there. It's getting. Hey, have you ever been to the 500?
Never been.
Or have you been to Daytona?
No.
Really? You live around here and you haven't been to Daytona?
No.
Man, come on.
I know.
Like it's. I still say like. One of these days I will go, like this week. It could be the summer race too. That's fine, and just do the infield thing. I think that'd be awesome. Be a lot of fun. Get some buddies, everybody. But I really enjoy going to Daytona. And I'm not like Stuart. He loves it, and it grew up going around as a kid and everything else. But I really enjoy it. It's a cool event. It's just so different. You appreciate being able to do some different things in our business. It's not just football all the time or whatever. And but it's an event, man. It's a worldwide event, and it's right in our backyard. It's a cool day. Now, again, if it's a cool day if hopefully everything works out weather-wise and everything else. But it's a neat deal. So we'll have you covered for the rest of the week on the Daytona 500. I think Hamby's Burner said, I'll be at the 2 race on Saturday with my parents. First time we've all been to a race together. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it should be fired up. It's a fun deal. Thursday is always, if you've never been, what people will tell you, Thursday's the best night to go and consume it. Now, if you're like a big event person, obviously Daytona 500 Sunday. But they sell out of that, and it's just a lot of people. So you got to navigate. If you're cool with that, good. Thursday is more comfortable, and there'll still be a lot of people. It's buzzing down there, but they have the duels. And the thing is, like, if you're not a diehard racing fan, you get a good taste of what it's all about, but it goes by kind of quick. Starts at like 7 o'clock. You get 2 races. It's under the lights. There's usually some good racing going on because of because it's quick. It's not just like, okay, feel this thing out, and it's like, no, go and win and get to victory lane. So the duels have always been a lot of fun. I'll tell you where the most exciting racing over the years that I've seen, 500 has really had some good ones, especially at the finish, but it's the truck race. The truck race on Friday night we have seen some doozies, man. I mean, it's like, holy cow, these guys are nuts. But it's up-and-comers a lot of time, or the Truck Series is just different racing anyway, and you get some fiery stuff at the Speedway with that. So great week, Daytona. If you haven't been, you really you should try to go, seriously, to any of it. It's cool. And I know like NASCAR is not for everybody, but I say this about the Players' Championship. Golf's not for everybody. But people go to the Players' Championship not just because of the golf. It's an event in the backyard. It's a different experience. And usually most people walk away like, that was cool. So don't be a snob and only go to things you like, Hamby. Go experience everything. You can meet your fiance in Daytona. Spend the day with her.
Okay.
Beautiful day in Daytona.
Working this weekend.
All right, just next time. Plan for it next year. By then, she'll be your wife.
There you go.
And then you won't have to meet in the middle, I don't think.
No.
Where are these reports coming? Cedric is all over this Friday report. It's like the 14th time I think he's put it in our chat. Reports are coming in saying it's Cunningham job Friday if he wants it. Who are the reports from? Is this
YOY?
Is that who it is? All right, hey, I want to talk about a couple other things before we bring Austen in the show a little bit later. Travis Kelce, did you hear him?
Yeah, he seems like he's really contemplating it.
Well, here's I always have this thought on guys, all right? And I appreciate what Kelce said. But my thought is, if you contemplate it, you're likely leaning to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you get that doubt in your mind, and you can recover from it, but the doubt is not like, do I want to play anymore? No, that's not, or can I play anymore? That's not the doubt. The doubt was, at least if you listen to his statement on his show, it was, can I give what it needs to be given to my teammates? Can I get all in? And when you have the guys that do that, that start to think about that, like, do I want to go through training camp? Do I want to go through the training of the offseason? Do I want to do this and that and everything? Like the stuff that we rave about Tom Brady was able to do, or LeBron James. Now, to get your body in the shape, that's the work. Playing the game is not the work, even though it's quite a bit of work, but it's nowhere near the work. The investment is the offseason. The investment is mentally being there when you don't have to be there. Human nature is, I don't need to be there. So I think that's what Kelce's contemplating, and I have no problem with that. I appreciate that. I think that's a genuine deal. But I do believe, my belief is when you get to that stage, then you probably have a foot out. How do you get yourself back in? Like, how do you reel yourself back in to be like, oh, no, I'm all in. I'm jumping all in here. Like, what tips that off? Mm-hmm. When you're tired, you're older, you know you've lost a step. He's not the same player. He can be in denial about it, but he's not. He's not the same player. And then your investment he's already got all these rings. He's got legacy. He's a Hall of Famer. He's got it. What gets you back in the ring? What gets you fully back in instead of a step out or a toe out or whatever else? I think that's really hard, Hamby. Like, I think once you have that out, you're not invested. Now, God bless you if you can turn that around and get invested, but that's a really hard thing to do. You know the time that you really get invested again? Is in, like, September, when the bullets really start flying and the games are happening. Mm-hmm. But you don't get invested fully again when it's like, oh, gosh, here we go, April 15th, I got to go to the facility.
Right.
Or, OTAs again, or mini camp again, and definitely not training camp again. Like, I don't think you really feel it there. You feel it when you get to the season, so I think he becomes a major candidate to be hey, I'm going to stay in shape guy, and maybe be the rumored guy that joins them again halfway through the year.
Yeah, just like Gronk kind of did.
Gronk did that, right? Did that once, and then was rumored like 5 other times to do it again. Yeah. I think he's still rumored to do it, and he's on TV. But yeah, or Brady's been rumored for years, even since retirement, to do it. Remember, was it Phillip Rivers? Another guy.
Did he?
He was rumored. Oh yeah, like there was a.
I mean, Flacco does it every year.
Well, yeah, he does. The Indianapolis Colts, I believe, gave him a call, Phillip Rivers, when remember the year after he played for Indy?
Yeah.
He was done. I think they gave him a call and said, hey, are you interested? And I think there was a report about that. Delphonic says he needs to take time before making a decision. It's emotional. I get that. Yeah. I do. And I think that's right. But I appreciate everything he said, Kelce said. He's like, listen, I can still do this, but I got to be all in. And I respect that because they know what all in is. They don't want the teammate that's not all in.
Right.
So they don't want to be the teammate that's not all in. Yeah. And you can't lie. You can tell you can lie to yourself a little bit, but I don't think you can lie to everybody else around you.
Not for a whole season.
So what do you think? Is he like? That's my take. My take is he's done, and it's not just because of the losses. I thought he was going to be done before the loss. I think he knows he's lost it. I'm not telling you he's Willie Mays in it, but he really doesn't. I mean, God, it's amazing he still impacts games because he looks so dang slow and old to me. Like, he really doesn't look the part at all. And he's never been fast or anything like that. I mean, that's not the thing. But it just, when you can see it on TV,
yeah,
I'm almost hoping he retires. Because you don't want to watch that.
Yeah.
And I actually think they'd be better off if they do move on and try to find the next thing now. I think he can help them. You think the Chiefs are better with Kelce at this stage or going to get something else?
They can still go get something else and, restructure his deal or do something else or draft Tyler Warren, or do something like that. And they don't have to be the guy year one because Kelce's not going to be the guy anymore. It doesn't mean that's the only option that he can't play. I think he'll give it one more year. I really do. I think he'll give it one more year because they lost the Super Bowl. And I think when these guys come down to it and they're really debating if they want to do it, like, you have the rest of your life to be retired. You have the rest of your life. I think the wear and tear is, now it's different for every individual guy, but I think the large consensus of guys who know they can still at least perform well, because he knows that he's not going to be a Pro Bowl type stat guy, but he knows that he can play well enough to make an impact on football games. And the large majority of those guys who can do that, who know they can still do that, if they can go get one more year, I think they do lean that way. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to push for 3, but coming off a season like that, you lost the Super Bowl, you have the rest of your life to be retired. Now, I think one of the better questions is whether all of the off-the-field stuff is contributing, and I would say 100% yes. If none of this stuff was out there, whether it's not just Taylor Swift, it's that plus podcast, and he's a huge celebrity now, because if you're going to retire, why do guys retire? Family, or they think they have better opportunities, or they can't physically compete anymore.
Yeah.
You got to pick something that's better.
He might have all 3.
Right?
He might have all 3
He
of those.
might have all 3. But if he didn't, that's why I say he'd probably still be playing multiple seasons. I still think he would give it one more.
Yeah, Coach Rip says better a year early than a year late. I kind of agree with that. I think we agree with that with sports as sports fans.
Yeah.
I think we kind of want that as sports fans. It's like, I don't want to watch that, right? And we kind of wondered that with Brady. It never really fell off. The crazy thing is, he was still playing at a pretty damn high level.
Yeah.
When he left. Look at LeBron. We're not watching that dude fade. I mean, it's unbelievable right now. Deep tight end class, says Delphonic. I saw the Weddle one just before the Super Bowl. See, I don't think people want to do that. I think you got to join at some point. It's one thing to join in November or December. I don't know about joining in the third week of January. Unless you're there to just save the team because somebody got hurt. That would be one thing. But, yeah, I think Kelce's done. I think he's kind of talking. I think he's got good perspective on it. I appreciate it. I'm cool with it. I'm not criticizing it at all. I think he's exactly right. But I think once you make that, you step outside that circle and you're like, yeah, I'm kind of leaning it. Although many guys come back, I think it's hard to come back. And listen, again, Brady is a great example of a guy that kind of flirted with it, seemed like. And he kept coming back and delivering, Who else? Favre?
Yeah.
Right? But I don't know if he always delivered at the end. That contemplation of it. What are we seeing with Aaron Rodgers? Is he going to? We're going to talk a little bit more about Aaron Rodgers in just a little bit. So, yeah, I think he's going to be done. I think it makes a lot of sense to be done. I also think they just finished a heck of a run. I don't believe they're going to win again next year, but who am I to say that with the Kansas City Chiefs? And I also will say this. I think the Chiefs might be better without him now to go find that next rendition as Mahomes enters his 30 age year And now you kind of reset this thing a little bit. You become the new Chiefs, a different Chiefs than you have been. And it's a hell of a run, but now can you replenish and become this new look Chiefs? And that would be without Kelce. Soon enough, they're going to be without Chris Jones. They've got to replace some really impactful players to this dynasty. That's the way it works if they want to continue to do it. Patriots were able to do it for all those years. We'll see if the Chiefs are able to do it as well. We were talking betting a little bit earlier. And when Austin's going to jump in the show, and we'll talk about this with him. We've got some Aaron Rodgers stuff. We also, Jarian Jones, Daniel Griffiths. We're going to do that at noon. So deep dive on Jarian Jones and some of the things that Daniel sent us today as a contributor to our Brent and Austin show here now on almost a daily basis on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. But I was thinking of something when Stuart brought up betting, and we were talking about it with Daytona. Sports are so huge right now. But are we leaning too much on the gambling side? Is that a danger going forward? And then I also think, like, how much are sports diving into how do we make this more bettable, if that's even a word, right? We've seen that a little bit with the PGA Tour where they'll show every shot. So you can basically, I think, bet on, like, every shot somewhere. I don't know exactly where that is to bet, but I think you see every shot because you have the ability to wager on every shot. Like that was part of the idea. That wasn't just a viewer experience. The idea was, how do we get this to Vegas? And are there other sports missing some low-hanging fruit in all of that? It's just wild to me how big sports is in our culture, but also how big gambling is right now in our culture that's aided sport. And that has been the case for years and years and decades around soccer. When the big draws to soccer is not just the beautiful game and everybody plays it. It's because you can wager on it, in a lot of different countries. So, like, this is not new to our world. We just know it is normal now. The gambling talk is normal. It's been normalized. It's not going away. The sports have embraced it. But is it almost a danger zone, or do you just, hey, while the going's good, keep going and keep trying to build off it? And then are there other sports like NASCAR, like we were just talking about with this in-season thing, that could capitalize even a little bit more on that? Because I actually think that would be fun. We all love a bracket. And that head-to-head race when there's 40-something cars in the field, like I'm thinking that as a casual NASCAR fan, I'm like, okay, that'd be kind of fun. For in the summertime when there's no football, all that, take a look at, I'm picking this driver versus this driver. And Stuart said it, like you could already do that, but I think this will accentuate it more. This will make it more like, hey, here's a bracket. We love a dang bracket now as a sports fan. Yes, we do. So let's take the time out. Brent and Austin Show, Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. And again, today we got a lineup cup date, 1 o'clock, 1:30 a week with us. 2 o'clock, we will bring you No Gate Fees presented by Nimnick Buick GMC, Perfect Rack Billiards, and Baker's Sports. It's the debut of 2025. We're talking high school baseball, softball, youth sports as well. And tomorrow, that guy will hit the microphone. The offensive coordinator, Brent Udinsky, Anthony Campanile, the defensive coordinator, Heath Farwell, special teams coordinator of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They talk in the middle of our show tomorrow. So we'll have instant reaction to that on a Thursday. On the Brent and Austin Show, you can find all we do simply at actionsportsjacks.com.
The Tom Bush family of dealerships, they've been serving customers in the Jacksonville area for 55 years. They've been your go-to spot to get and stay on the road since 1970, and that's still the case here in 2025 and beyond, even if the cars have changed just a little bit.
Check out the sleek line of vehicles of the future. That's right, electric vehicles. Tom Bush offers a full lineup of reliable electric cars with state-of-the-art service facilities. Like the new VinFast, Tom Bush is among the first dealers in the entire country to offer the VinFast, and let me tell you, this thing is sweet. The good folks at Tom Bush have all the info on charging, service, tax credits, and everything you need to keep your EV running smoothly. BMW, Mazda, Volkswagen, Mini, and the newly offered VinFast. There's something for everyone at the Tom Bush family of dealerships. Ready to join the Tom Bush family? Stop by the showroom or check out the inventory online at tombush.com.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, The mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
A big week for the UNF men's basketball team, a sweep of Stetson and Jacksonville University. It was an overtime thriller over Stetson. That set the table for the River City Rumble, and Coach Matthew Driscoll joined the Brent Austen Show.
But I think these two games are the creme de la creme.
UNF couldn't miss in the first half. 11 three-pointers jumped the lead to 25 points, but the Ospreys would still have to hold off a late rally. UNF comes back home for the men's and women's hoop doubleheaders on Thursday and Saturday at the arena. Also say hello to softball season as the Ospreys visit #1 Florida on Thursday and then host the River City leadoff on the weekend. For more on the Ospreys, visit unfospreys.com. That's your Swoop Minute.
Just be yourself. Maybe we're talking about being a dad or a mom, a first responder or a teacher. Maybe it's a sports fan. We love those. We're talking about anyone in the Jacksonville community. At Community First Credit Union, just be yourself means being real. When you partner with Community First, it's straightforward. They're people connecting with you so you can be yourself. I've been coming here to Community First for years. This is the Bartram branch, the one I usually come to. And they have mortgage loans, personal loans, and auto loans. And I'm almost done paying off that truck loan. Just a few more months. Good rates, easy online banking, and friendly customer service when I have a question. It's easy to be myself with Community First. They live up to the slogan in their name. Community First has partnerships in the Jacksonville community with the Iceman, the Florida Theater, the Jacksonville Zoo, and many more. Visit one of the Jacksonville branches or find out all you can do with Community First Credit Union at communityfirstfl.org so you can just be yourself.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
And welcome back to the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Brent Martineau along with Jason Hamby in here, and Austen Lane going to join us in just a moment here from South Florida. So we're ready for that as Fight Camp continues. We know the date now, March 1st against Mario Pinto in Las Vegas at the Apex for Austen Lane, his next fight in the UFC, and that's coming up in just a couple of weeks. Austen will be back with us on Friday here in Jacksonville, then he pops back out for more training as we get ready for that fight. We get ready. We're all getting ready for that fight, not just Austen.
This is a team effort, Brent.
That's right. We're all getting ready
It's
here on the show. I'm battling allergies here day in, day out. Austen's fighting some of the top people in the world day in, day out. We all have to do our part here. The chat, you guys do your part. Just keep chatting. Hamby, just keep not messing up as much as possible.
Brent,
Did you know that he was a bat boy for the Shrimp or the Suns? Shrimp
Shrimp.
Did we know that?
I was not aware.
How did we not know that? We talked about it for like 20 minutes earlier in the show. I was like, maybe I just forgot. You never forget things, so he never told us that. He never mentioned
this. Andy, was this like a one-off, or are you talking about the whole season?
3 seasons.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah, that was my high school job.
Did you have any aspirations to maybe get with what do they call it down in Florida? Like the spring ball? Is that it's not cactus, it's the grapefruit?
Yeah, what's spring training.
Yeah, but what's the league?
Grapefruit League, you got it.
Grapefruit League. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think so. I think I just enjoyed it because it was ball and it was make a couple bucks and
because one of my really good friends in Jacksonville, he was the Twins were, I forgot whatever city in Florida, but he was a bat boy for 3 seasons for the Twins in spring training.
Yeah, down in Fort Myers. There you go.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Now, actually, the spring training one would be pretty good because it's like a short amount of time. Yeah. So you just go down. If you have that opportunity, that'd be pretty good. Hey, jumping right in with a couple of different things. Four Nations face-off in hockey.
I'm excited for this. Yeah, man.
Are people excited? You're a hockey guy in terms of the NHL stuff. Jags Weissman, by the way, big win yesterday. They're in second place now in the South Division. They come home Saturday night for a game. But I think I'm interested with this because basically you have four nations facing off. You got the United States, you've got Finland and Sweden and Canada. And what's happening here is they'll play 3-round robin games, and then there'll be a championship game next Thursday on the 20th. So that's a long break. They're doing this instead of the All-Star game.
Yep.
Right? So this is like the All-Star break, and it's featuring, I just saw this, it was 13 forwards, 7 defensemen, 3 goalies. So we're talking 23 players on each squad. And you got some, obviously country pride in here as well, which makes it feel a little bit more Olympics-esque. Do you like the idea that they're getting away from the All-Star games? Because All-Star games are looked at and mocked at right now and kind of joked about in a lot of sports other than baseball, I would say. Is this a good idea?
Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued. I'm definitely going to tune in to watch this. Nothing against the NHL All-Star game. I'm not sure if you watched it in the past, but it was really just a glorified 3-on-3 contest.
Yeah.
And it became the point where it wasn't even the East versus West. It was more of just each division was kind of split up and everything. So aesthetically, it just really wasn't that fun to watch, in my opinion. I did enjoy watching all the skills competition. That was fun. Who has the hardest shot, who's the fastest skater. There's some things to take away, but overall, I thought the All-Star game definitely needed a retooling in the NHL. And I think this is a genius idea because now you're bringing country pride to it, right? And and I get maybe in the US it's not so prideful here in terms of hockey, but a storyline that's going into this whole Four Nations thing is the fact that I think the US now, it's been since 1996 on a world stage, whether it's a World Cup, whether it's the Olympics, whether they've actually won the entire thing. Now they've got second a couple times in Olympics, but I think it was 96, if I read correctly, was the last time on a world stage they actually won the championship. And the U.S., a lot of people think are really favored right now to win this entire tournament just because of their goaltending. They have the best goaltending, probably have the best defensemen, arguably the best offense next to Canada. So it's kind of crazy to say the U.S. are really the front runners now, and there's some pressure on them because they'll be playing half these games in Canada and then half these games in Boston, I believe, as well. So there's going to be a little home ice advantage as well.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like the idea. Here's the deal. I got to be fully honest. I don't watch a lot of the NHL. I just don't. I don't need to. I don't really watch a lot of TV, folks, to be honest, as well. I'll be flipping on college basketball in the office at night. Sometimes even watching a little bit of the NBA, like Luka and LeBron. But I'm not sitting in front of my TV watching, which is kind of weird because I know a lot of people in my position, that's what we do. But there's a lot of other stuff going on in my world. But I was thinking of this. I might try to catch more of this event. See if I want to sample it. All right? Because to me, I'm the guy we're asking about. I'm not watching the NHL every night. I don't have a diehard team. I used to root for the Bruins. I can't say I sit here and root for the Bruins. But I can root for Team USA. I like that. I like that in golf. I like that in the Olympics. I like rooting for Team USA. So can I can I watch? I'm probably not going to watch Canada Sweden tonight. I think I'll be in the car actually. But tomorrow, United States against Finland. Like, can I catch that? Can I sit down and watch some of it, get lured into this event, and then does that make me a little bit more intrigued in the second half of the hockey season as well? Because now I've got some knowledge about some of the players and maybe like this or that. I might try to sample this myself. I can't sit here and say I'll definitely do it, but I'm going to try to do a little bit of that to see if I can be like a little bit of a guinea pig here and this kind of thing works. Because I think the NHL could use a little bit of that, right? I mean, they really get lost in the shuffle overall. At least I feel like they do, but I think it's pretty obvious. I mean, I'm not hating on the NHL. There's plenty of NHL fans. It's much like the sport we're talking about with NASCAR. People, some like it, some gravitate toward it, some don't, but they're doing fine. But how do you pull others in is the question, Austin, and this would be a cool foray to do it. The NBA has tried with this in-season tournament. That's goofy right now. It doesn't make sense to a lot of us. Something like this makes sense. A break in the action instead of the All-Star game. Let's not try to do that. And now we've got something that's a little unique and different that maybe lures us in. So I'm going to try to sample it out for the NHL, and I'll be a tester.
Yeah, and listen, I don't want to like people get the wrong idea of my hockey fandom. Like, do I watch hockey? Yes. Am I a fan of hockey? Sure. Did I grow up playing it? Absolutely. It was my favorite sport. But my hockey fandom is directly tied to the Detroit Red Wings. If the Red Wings aren't doing well, Brent, I could give a crap about hockey. Like, I'm actually bitter. I don't want to watch it. But thankfully, the Wings right now have rebounded with a new head coach and everything. I think they're still in the wild card hunt, right? I think they might be in the second seed in the wild card. So I have hockey fever right now because my team's doing good. If the Wings were in the bottom of the league, I wouldn't even brought up the Four Nations. I wouldn't have cared less. But since the Wings are doing good, hockey in my life is doing good, Brent. But I want to get back to your point. I think this is a great idea. And look at soccer, for instance, right? Like, yeah, you have Messi playing in Miami. And by the way, down here, it's huge, man. There's like Miami, I think it's Miami FC. I don't know what they're called, but I'm seeing Messi jerseys everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
There's giant murals of Messi like on like these buildings. It's crazy. So like, okay, you feel that in Miami a little bit, sure. But I think like around the country, yeah, he's a great soccer player, but you're not really feeling that. You're not really feeling Major League Soccer, right? But what happens? When the World Cup comes around and it's Team USA versus everybody else, then people kind of like gather around that. There's a sense of national pride there. People will go to, I was at the Shrimp Stadium watching the World Cup a couple years ago, and it was packed there, right? So anytime people have an excuse to cheer for their country against other countries, I think it's a great idea. So that's why I'm a fan of this, because now you're getting like Team USA against the other teams in the country. And I think that could bring some sort of pride, and that could bring the casual audience now because, doesn't matter if it's wrestling, doesn't matter if it's figure skating, gymnastics. If Team USA is on the line, people are going to tune in and watch it.
Yeah, I think they will. Coach Rip says something interesting. He's talking about hockey, and then he gets down the bottom. Live hockey is amazing. TV hockey is meh. And there's something really true about that, right? I mean, it's just one of those sports. It's hard to explain it, but it's true. It's like hockey's way better in person, and everybody will say it. That is fact. And so, but we're living in a world where this thing and streaming and watching, and like we've been living in that world for a long time where the eyeballs matter. Not everybody's going to go to a game. And by the way, going to a game is more expensive than it's ever been. So you lose when it's not as good. It would almost be better for a sport to be better on TV than it is live, if you get what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And for whatever reason, people feel that way about hockey more than any other sport, in my opinion. That it's just so much better in person, and it's true, but it still doesn't come across enough on the TV side. And then there's another part of this that we were talking a little bit of betting in NASCAR with Stuart in the last hour, and I got to thinking this, Austin, and it really relates to a sport like hockey.
Mm-hmm.
I think hockey also gets hurt by the gambler. and the gambling part of sports. Gambling is a huge part of it. Like, we know it. It's the NFL has been boosted by gambling. Fantasy football part of gambling, now gambling that's legal, gambling that's normalized, gambling that everybody's doing, hard rock bets, props, you name it. There's some of this in baseball. There's some of this in basketball. There's no sport thriving on all cylinders, and especially because of gambling, like football. I think if you go around the world, soccer is also it's a natural thing to bet on because it's like tale as old as time stuff. That's how soccer also got so big around the world, not just because it was the sport of everybody's country outside of the United States, but gambling was a big part of this. Like, before it was taboo to gamble, they were doing it in other countries, right? So I think it was open to do it. Listen, I once covered a sport in horse racing that's why people go watch horse racing. And horse racing is awesome on a lot of levels, but it's also awesome because you can go cover the event and put $2 down on a horse to win. The jockey can do it before he heads out to his race. I mean, it's a pretty wild sport in that respect. How can is that part of the hockey thing? Is that why we're not consumed by the masses? Because, it's not great on TV, but it's not the easiest sport to bet on. Like, what are you betting on? When I look at a line in hockey, you can go with obviously the money line, but a lot of it's like, are they going to win by a goal and a half? Like, right? Like, that's the thing.
Well, yeah, because generally, if a team's down by 1, they're going to pull their goalie, and one thing's going to happen. They have a slight chance to increase their chance of scoring and maybe tie the game up, go to overtime. Or more than likely, when you pull the goalie, the other team scores and they go up by 2. So, I would say betting the spread can be a little tricky, Brent. There still are player props, right? There's shots on goal. There's goal scores, like anytime goal scores are big. But I do agree with you, right? Because I think where football is king, and you've seen the NBA as well, but the NBA's got their own issues with sometimes players maybe reading too much into it and getting busted a little bit. But I think the NFL is king because, what can you go off? You can go off receiving. You can go off receptions. You can go off of rushing yards, touchdowns. Heck, you can even go off of tackles and sacks or whatever you want to do. So there's so many options to bet in football. And with hockey, to prove your point, it is a little more limited, right? You're talking about spreads. You're talking about money lines. And then you're talking about shots on goal and goals themselves. But there's not really necessarily a lot to bet off of. Kind of like baseball, I feel like. There's their own little niche out there of baseball betting and everything, and I get all of that, but man, it's hard to total bases and walks and strikeouts by 5 innings. It's just there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, it's such an interesting deal to me. And so my question is twofold. Are we too reliant right now, and will the NFL feel this at any point, but are we too reliant on sports betting to lift our sports? I talk about this all the time in our industry. I mean, look what we're doing. We built a 24-hour sports network in local television. Like, it's unheard of. They were killing sports departments in local television for the last 20 years. They weren't even doing it. And we're like, are we going to have a job? We built a 24-hour sports network here. Like, I talk about that part of it from like my lens a lot, like where we're at. And that's Jacksonville. But guess what? We got people calling us in other places that are like, hey, how do we do it? How do you do it? Like, it's a real thing. So like our sports is just, we're inundated with sports. I talked to my mom this morning. She's like, man, there's always something going on in sports. Like, and mom doesn't care about sports that much. But she's always like, well, there's always something. You got to have something to talk about today. And she's kind of right? It just doesn't stop. It's such a part of our culture and everything else. So it's really amazing to see where sports are in terms of, at least in the United States, but really around the globe right now, in our psyche, in popularity, in our culture, which is great for all of us that work in the business. The other side of it is, I think the betting, we are very reliant on betting right now because it's so normalized and has lifted the sport like the NFL to a degree where it's like, holy cow. Like, they just keep setting records and records. They're untouchable. But are we too reliant on it? You know what I mean? Like, are we going to get to a point where something, I don't know, like, is it recession proof? It's an addiction to many. They're taking advantage of potentially people's addictions. Yeah. So to that, it's like the cigarette world, I guess, or any other type of thing like that. But I just wonder that. I do wonder if we are too reliant in some sports on on betting and gambling that will feel that at some point down the road.
So to answer your question, are we too reliant on betting? I absolutely think so. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you, but the hard truth, Brent, is that it's not going anywhere because there's too much money to be made off it. And if you take betting, like for instance, if you take the NFL, right, and I can only imagine how much in terms of NFL betting, like it was generated this year in terms of revenue, in terms of how many of these bookmakers are making. I was watching, I forgot what I was watching, man. It was like a YouTube clip or something where this dad was talking about his son who started up like, one of these betting companies. I forgot which one it was, but started it up and everything and like disclosed how much they made in the first year, Brent. And we're talking like millions and
hundreds of millions. Yeah.
Hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah. Insane. Just from a startup, just from like, hey, let's go ahead and try this thing out. Oh, what do you know? Now you've made over $100 million. Congratulations. So it's not going anywhere. And I think whether it's the NBA, whether it's the NFL, I mean, Major League Baseball, I feel like I'm not sure if they're really into it. I mean, I guess Ohtani is.
Well, you have to be. You have to be into it, okay?
I know.
Whether you do it or not, everybody's into it. Golf is into it. NASCAR's into it.
Yeah, but people are going to embrace this, Brent, because number one, it's revenue. And number two, it's going to bring new eyes to the sport. My only concern, and now we're starting to see this with collegiate athletics as well, where we're seeing more and more sports book. So, I mean, like, March Madness has always been a thing, right? It's always been fun to bet on March Madness. But now we're seeing college football props and all these things. And my biggest concern, and we've seen a little bit in the NBA, and we'll kind of see how that shakes out, because I feel like the NBA is kind of keeping it hush-hush a little bit and not really disclosing what's all going on. But we're seeing some players now be hip to the game where it's like, oh, I'm getting a lot of, bets on my over. Let me go ahead and like, I got an injury. Sorry. Like that's what I'm worried about, Brent. I'm worried about the corruption. And when you have a lot of money at stake and when you have a lot of money coming in and out, there's always the possibility for corruption. And whether it's at the collegiate level, whether it's with football, basketball, baseball, hockey, that's where I go to. And that's what I worry about.
Yeah, and that's a good point. That might be, like, I'm trying to sit here and say, okay, well, what's the thing that's going to change this? Or in a bad way. Let's just say this is a good thing, that money's pouring in and sports are great and healthy and blah, 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 even though gambling might not be healthy. Come with me here for a second. But maybe that's it. Maybe there's this huge, like, just controversial corruption throughout, like, the NFL. Like, something really happened. Like, that's what they have to guard against. Because then you lose the integrity.
It's happening in the NBA. It's happening in the NBA, and no one's really... People are still like, no one's. I don't know. I'm so baffled by the whole NBA thing, and I forgot who the players were. One was a guy from Toronto.
No, I remember the story. But it even goes back to the officiating years ago, right, with Donahue and stuff like that. So we know those stories. So I think I would say people don't bet on the NBA as much because of those kind of stories. Now you're still going to get people that bet on the NBA. Trust me. I mean, I'll bet on ping pong on occasion just for the hell of it. But I mean, you're hesitant to do it potentially, at least in bigger numbers. The NBA, because there's a little bit of a history. Like we keep referring to it. Mm-hmm. What if that happens in the NFL? What if there's some big scandal in the NFL? That's what the NFL has to avoid. Because it's not to say that nobody will gamble on it. It's just that less people will, or as much money, because they're not going to mess around with that. I mean, there are people that are addicted to it and they do it just to do it. But then there are also people that do it because they're strategically doing it. Well, those strategic people that are betting a lot of money, they're not going to mess with something that they feel might be corrupted, is my point. So that's possibility. All right, one last thing to end this before we hit a break. Is there a sport? Ping pong, good to see I'm not the only one. Hey, throw him in a parlay, Fran. What the hell?
Brent's talked about the bit tonight. He's like, I kind of like Sweden. I kind of like Sweden over Canada. Don't know a lick of hockey. Can't pronounce any names. I've heard of Connor McDavid, but I'm feeling Sweden tonight.
That live ping pong bet, man, is something. When I don't even know what they got to win at. I don't know if it's 11 or 15 or 21. But so here's what I'm thinking: is there a sport out there that right now is not like super popular, but could emerge more because of gambling, but we haven't seen it yet. Like, is somebody going to come? Somebody's going to come up with something, right? That's going to really favor a sport. And I'm talking like it could be ridiculous sounding right now, like darts. Like it could be something like that. That's like that is the most fun thing to wager on right now because we came up with X, Y, Z, and we're all doing it.
So this is a big thing on if you ever go on Reddit, the betting pages. This is probably the most consistent thing where you can turn a profit on in terms of betting. It's esports.
So it is. So you can do that on like Hard Rock Esports. I don't even know what it means.
Hey, I'm same. But from art, like once again, because sometimes I'll go on Reddit and just kind of see what people are posting and everything. And the esports thing right now is on the come up. And when I say esports, like it's various games, right? And I can't even like I think like League of Legends might be one. I don't even know, man. Like I'm a gamer, but I'm not that hardcore. But I just feel like with the emergence of Twitch, Brent, with the emergence now of like these Twitch and these gamers becoming like real world celebrities, I feel like esports could be a big thing in the future.
That's an interesting one. And again, that's good because that's out of left field and you're like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like, no, seriously. Like if there's something, and I am too. But my point is, at some point, there's going to be something that's kind of a cool wager or this or that. And that's fun. That kind of, because it's all going to get stale at some point, right? You've got to be able to, you got to be like, I need something else. I need a little something more. Right, I need something. Give me something. Give me something fun, and then, but also the ability to win. Like if the hit rate or the win rate is doable, then maybe you get that. Ryan says pickleball. I'm not sure, Ryan, about pickleball because it feels very tennis-like, and I don't know how many people bet on tennis. You can do it, but I know pickleball's tremendous popularity. I just don't know because I thought about that too. I just don't see it as being like, okay, wow, that's a cool way to bet, right? Like I really want to put a wager on it. But honestly, I sit here and I'm not the same way about esports, but I think your idea is potentially a good one. And I think what will happen is somebody will come up with a wager that's just really fun. Like it's like a new game at Best Bet, right? Like, hey, I'm going to check this game out. I got there in one card poker, and now I'm going to play this. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's fun. Let's go do it. Let's go spend time on it. And I think that's what will happen. It could be esports. It could be something like darts. It could be freaking rodeo for all I know. Like, I don't know. But I just think we'll look up in 5 years, 10 years, whatever that might be, and we're going to be coming back to this conversation in 2025, and we'll be like, remember what we were talking about? Like, what sport might emerge because of betting? And boom, here it is. What is that? I don't know.
Yeah. I was thinking too, like, could you do like weather or something? Like, how many? No, for real. Like, hey, like, when's the next time?
That's a good one. That's a good one.
When is Vegas going to get rain again? Plus or minus a month or something. I don't know. Like, I'm surprised they haven't done that yet.
Yeah, that's a good call. And by the way, Logan, cricket, I think, is bet on all over the world very much.
Yeah.
We just don't understand it. We just don't understand it in the United States, so we don't bet on it. But maybe it becomes more normalized, like in the United States. That's a possibility. But the weather thing, I feel like you mentioned this before about the weather thing.
We're going to talk to Money Mike Burris, man, and we're really going to put the Money Mike Burris moniker to the test.
Well, especially since there could be some corruption too, because they're putting stuff in the water in this atmosphere for these big hurricanes, right? Isn't that what came out of this past year? So we got that part of it
Brent's
too.
Hey, Brent, careful now. I'm not trying to be like,
I don't know which side is that. I don't even know what political side that is on. I don't even know. I'm just saying.
I'm not even trying to get on the grid with that one, Brent. That's on you. That's at Brent AS Jax, everybody. I'm still not this one.
Hey, one of the things that you talk about should be looked at is how much can the CFL and leagues like that capitalize off of it? If football's this big, NFL's this big, are we going to see a swing of where those, nowhere close to where the NFL is at, but can the CFL really capitalize and bring their brand to a whole new level because they really go in on the betting like the NFL has?
Yeah.
What do you think, Brent? Should we do a CFL fantasy football league?
Yeah.
I got John Chick with my first overall pick.
John Chick, that's right. He's still living down here. He's got like 100 kids. Here's where I don't think so. I don't think so because it's still football the way it's football. Like unless you bet on something that you won't bet on in the NFL and it becomes kind of a cool thing to do. That's my point. Like it's going to take in almost innovation of gambling, in my opinion, to bring this the way I'm talking about it. You're not just going to all of a sudden be like, hey, cricket's really cool. You're not going to just all of a sudden be like, hey, Darce, let's go watch. No, it's got to be a reason to do it in the gambling world. We don't understand esports. Esports for now, the last decade plus, has been a very big thing. There's college scholarships now in esports, but we're not all sitting there watching them and wagering on them. Heck, we don't even understand it. But if there's an innovative way to lure us into it, and we feel like we got a chance to win, well, then maybe that's the thing that gets us going. I just don't see that with an organized football league because we already have that in the NFL at the highest of levels.
Brent, one last thing, which I think we should get on board right away. It's going to patent this. It's going to take this to the Sharks. It's going to take it to Mark Cuban because we have something on the brink. Olympics betting, an Olympic sports book. Every single Olympic event.
So is there not that?
I don't think so.
Like during the Olympics?
No, I didn't see anything. Like, you can't bet on track and field or figure skating, can you? I didn't see anything.
I don't know. Yeah, well, I don't know that.
I didn't see anything. Yeah.
I'm surprised if you can't. By the way, you have brought up this weather idea in the past. We should just do it and kind of try to start it here. Like, okay. We'll have Burrish set the line. I wonder if the Action News Jacks would be bothered by that. I got to check with the boss.
You wonder.
What do you mean? We set the line on the day. I'm working off his 5-day forecast.
Okay.
I mean,
the place that's really trying to take advantage of this right now is Kalshi. Kalshi is the one where you can like bet on politics and everything, and major kind of events. Like, for example, today you can bet on whether Tulsi Gabbard would get over under 50-something votes to be appointed as the secretary of whatever she is, or you could have bet on RFK over under 50-something votes. You can. I mean,
you can. Wow. Yeah, I guess that's not surprising.
This was the biggest. I mean, because of the election, right? There was millions and millions of dollars put on the election, and now out of that, you can bet on whether the government's going to declassify these files that they're talking about now. You can literally bet on anything.
Well, are there any bets on Elon Musk saying something crazy? Because man, I want that action right now. That dude's everywhere.
Well, you bring up a good point about the election though, because the election they had it won on like whatever bet site, like way before everybody else had it won. Mm-hmm. Like the odds went way up for Trump during the election night, and everybody's like, it's over. Like, and they actually predicted it before like the polling and everybody else because you could see where the odds had gone. So it's an interesting thing. But by the way, if you want to bet on politics, don't worry. There's no corruption there to worry about.
Yeah, you're right.
God bless you. You might as well just throw money away or at least get really lucky. We'll take a time out. We'll come back. We talk Jarrian Jones. That's the topic of the day here in this noon hour. Plus, we'll revisit Daytona International Speedway coming up here on the Brent and Austen Show on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. You can bet. We'll be back. When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC. We are professional grade. I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter.
Right now, you can save $500 on a Kinetico Premier Softener and get a free Connect Salt Monitor with purchase. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Kinetico water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Kinetico dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
The rhythm of my heart is beating like a drum, with We Armada rolling off our tongues. Never will we roam, for we know our place is home. Where the ocean meets the skies, we be sailing. Where the ocean meets the skies, we be sailing.
When it comes to trucks, I know exactly what I want. And at Bozard Ford, they make it easy to get exactly that. Let's go make this truck a little more my style. With Bozard Built, I can create my perfect truck right here. Lift kit? Check. Premium wheels? You bet. Advanced lighting package? Oh yeah. The Bozard team works their magic. From bumper to tailgate, I'm making this truck mine. It's everything that I wanted and more. From the field to the gym to weekend adventures. This truck's built for my journey. Bozard Built. Customized for your lifestyle, built to exceed your expectations. Check out the inventory and available options at bozardbuilt.com. Unleash your dream ride. Customized, covered, and Bozard approved.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jags 24/7 network.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show. This is a look at Jarrian Jones and some data sent our way by Daniel Griffiths. You can follow him on X at Dan D. Griffiths. And the data comes from PFF, Pro Football Focus. Brent, we got this is something where might make your eyes pop a little bit for all these cornerbacks that qualified.
I saw the stat floating around toward the end of the year, 0 touchdowns allowed, and I think that can be an interesting one. It goes back to, I remember when A.J. Boye was in this category, and he was an outside guy, of course, and in 2017, he actually had better numbers that year than Jalen Ramsey in 2017. Now, that was a terrific year for him, and it doesn't mean he was a better player that year than Jalen Ramsey. It was impressive what he did on the other side. So this is a pretty decent amount of snaps now, and you're third out of 75 guys. That's pretty good too. What's interesting here, couple of young guys in Wiggins and DeJean also on this list. You know, they've gotten that right. The investment in the nickel corner, or just in the corner in general. But is Wiggins playing inside or outside for Baltimore? I don't know either. I thought he was playing inside. Yeah. So listen, those are good. That's good company. Is the bottom line, I guess, to be around. And Jarian Jones, Austin, we're going to talk a little bit about Jarrian here and Daniel Griffiths again, just to let everybody know. We've had him on the show before. Bottom line is, just to be transparent, I like some of this stuff. So I asked him, hey, how about you contribute to the show and give us some topics here or there and a deep dive? And so he's doing that. And we're going to post, he's got a couple articles already ready to go, actionsportsjacks.com. That'll be the place you can get more information on this topic. And I just had to get through a couple of things on our end to be able to post those. So they'll hopefully be posted later today, if not by the end of the week. And then we'll have discussion on these almost on a daily basis. And today's is Jarian Jones. Yesterday was Brian Thomas Jr., but there's a lot to like about Jarrian Jones. I can't sit here and tell you that I know after his rookie season that he's like a tremendous player. Those are great metrics. Those are good numbers. I like his attitude, and I think the Jags need some more of those guys. I like his personality. I like that about that position. This is a very quiet group overall the last couple of years, if you really look at it. Very professional group. I don't say that with disrespect. It's just usually you got one of those guys that got a little edge to him. I think Jarrian's got some edge to him, and he's also a good player. And we also know this. I think he's really settled into that nickel spot. When they drafted him in the third round, we wondered, okay, can he play outside? Will he play inside? And, of course, Trent Baalke and everybody else, he can. Okay, but where is he going to play? Well, he really settled into the nickel spot. I got to assume that the new defensive scheme will have him in a similar position. You think the nickel spot is the right one for him?
I mean, you would hope so, right? Because he seems confident. He seems at home there, and he's had his most success there. So the last thing, and listen, this is kind of a tale as old as time, and I hope the Jaguars kind of course correct now and change the narrative. You've seen a guy have success at a certain spot. So let's keep him there. Let's keep coaching him up, and let's let him shine at said spot. And I think, like, listen, if you look at this draft class from this past year, Brent, right, it's up and down a little bit, right? Because we're not quite sure what we have with interior defense yet. Right, like, I mean, a lot of people, and including ourselves, are talking about, okay, well, do you take a guy from Michigan, Mason Graham, or whatever? Do you take him? Is it Mason Graham, right?
Yes.
That's the name? Yeah. Mason Graham. Do you draft him as an interior defensive tackle, right? Even though we just addressed that, what I thought last year. But, you know, it still remains to be seen if those guys are worthy of where they're picked. With Jarian Jones, you know what you got. Right? You know what you got from a playing standpoint, and I think you know what you got from a mentality standpoint. And we spoke about it many times, right? When the whole Trevor Lawrence thing went down, Jarrian Jones was one of the very first guys over there trying to make things right? Trying to have his brothers back. And those are the type of guys that you want, Brent. So from a mentality standpoint, from a physicality standpoint, and from just a skills standpoint, yeah, I'm excited for Jarian Jones going forward. I hope we're all excited for him playing that nickel spot.
Listen, we've flirted with the idea of who are they going to draft, right, to your point. So let's just, you can really talk yourself into the cornerback spot here because you think Jarian Jones is good. You're paying Tyson Campbell to be good, so he better be good. And then you get one other guy, Travis Hunter, Will Johnson, you name it. Like, do you like that idea? Do you think it's really important? What I did the other day on the show, I can't remember if it was yesterday or Monday now, is say, if you marry the Jags defense against Houston, you have a lot of similar parts. You have two good edge guys. You've got linebackers that you think are pretty good. They might be a little bit better on their side, but you've got guys that you like. Foye obviously leading the way, and then it's a little more unknown here in Jacksonville. But where their strength is, in my opinion, is in their secondary. That's where they have the advantage over you because they've got Stingley. And then Lassiter had a heck of a year. I think they're just overall better in the safety spot because they played better than our guys did, which are not great this year in Jacksonville. And Jags have to retool that safety position now going into 2025. But if you do go add a corner, you now mimic them in a lot of ways. You now have corners that are really good. Like, you're just as good as Houston, you feel like, let's just say. And linebackers, just as good. Our edge guys, we'll take the edge guys, especially for years to come. They've got Danielle Hunter, who's a little bit older. And both probably could be a bit stronger in the interior. I mean, they've got Foley Fatukasi and guys like that. Now, Danico Autry was a part of their front too. But hey, Armstead, Mason Smith, I mean, I think they're similar. So to get to where Houston is defensively, my point here is really the spot you're missing is the corner. You're missing that other corner to complement the other two that you already have. So that's kind of why I like, as I look at the AFC South, to say, hey, I'll take the quarterback over their quarterback. We'll hope that he plays better. We'll take the receiving core. Hey, it's good, but we'll take it. We'll see if we can beat them up there. But right now, I feel like they have an edge at defense because of their corners, Austin. And so maybe does that, because of what you have at Jarrian, what you think you have in Tyson, is the best move for the Jags to match up in the AFC South is to go make life miserable for C.J. Stroud and, quite frankly, the rest of the quarterbacks in the AFC by going to get a corner.
Listen, it's kind of $1 million question, right? Are we trying to address the secondary, or are you trying to address the interior defensive line? And I get what you're saying, Brent, because honestly, let's call a spade here. If you want to go to the Super Bowl, what do you have to do first? You have to win your division, right? And it's all about winning your division. So I like your attitude in terms of, okay, well, how do we stop the Houston Texans? How can we be like the Houston Texans a little bit, and what have we learned from them? At the same time, though, I think you have to do what's best for your team. And thinking about other teams and how you beat them is secondary. Maybe as bad as that sounds, but I just think that we've seen time and time again, man, you win and you lose games in the trenches. And, if we look at our interior defensive line right now, sure, there is some younger talent that maybe came on towards the end, like the draft picks last year from LSU, Smith and Mason, they both kind of showed a little bit, but are you confident with them as starters going forward? I'm not sure. Are you confident with Eric Armstead going forward? I mean, you should be if he's playing his right spot, but once again, I think we kind of have to see it another year to reaffirm to ourselves that, okay, yeah, that was the right decision to bring him over from San Francisco. So with that being said, Brent, if you're asking me, am I taking cornerback or am I taking interior defensive line? I'm going to build in the trenches first. I'm going to build the attitude and demeanor, and then I'm going to work my way out.
Yeah, that's cool. Daniel Griffiths, by the way, in his article that you'll see on actionsportsjacks.com this week, he also writes 26% forced incompletion percentage and target percentage in man coverage ranked among the league's best as well, 6th and 7th respectively. Pro Football Focus graded Jarian Jones as the 5th best run defender at the position, which I don't think you think about that much in the nickel spot, but certainly a bit noteworthy there. And then does question the zone coverage. He's way better in man coverage, which obviously the Jags played a lot of. What will the Jags defense look like? And keep in mind, Anthony Campanile, along with Grant Udinski, Heath Farwell are going to talk to the media tomorrow, so we might get a little bit more insight on what it looks like, then how a guy like Jarian Jones fits into the mix. But it looks like he's better in the man coverage, which I guess is not a surprise. And usually in that spot, you're going to end up linking up in that way anyway, a good portion of the time. I think people think it's not one or the other, folks, right? That's the deal with man. You're going to be in zone sometimes, and you're going to be in man sometimes. It's just, what do you play at a higher rate? And last year, the Jags played a way higher rate of man coverage than almost anybody in the National Football League, and we knew that going in. And obviously, Jarian Jones did a nice job there. So it'll be interesting to see how Campanile wants to use him. But I think one thing we know, I guess, what do we know? Well, or at least we feel we know. He's not going to bump to the outside. The Jags still need an outside corner. They've got a nickel guy I think that they feel pretty comfortable with, Austin, at the end of the day. I think that's the lesson learned from this season with Jarrian Jones. They don't really have to worry about that spot. They've got a guy. Now they need somebody opposite Tyson Campbell. Fair enough?
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. And now it just comes down to, I think you kind of hit it on the head, Brent. Are we talking about interior defensive line? Are we talking about cornerbacks? I think both positions are very important, and one could argue maybe even finding that right cornerback could even be more important. But what are you more concerned with? The importance of a position, or maybe changing your team's mentality around with getting an interior defensive lineman?
Yeah, so it'll be, or just going to get Ted McMillan and just be able to pass it by everybody.
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking.
Hey, isn't it funny that we're talking, okay, defense. Forget it, man. Just go offense. Let's get sexy. Let's have some fun.
Well, it's part of the, listen, we're going to talk about the draft a lot, and we get that, and that's what we do this time of year, and it's kind of, I feel like I'm pretty proud of our me and you and the show that we've pushed the draft talk off all the way to February, the middle of February, quite frankly. Even this season was over in early November.
Mock buzz, Brent.
Oh, man, I mean, it's unbelievable we were able to push it off to that length. But yeah. I really find it fascinating because we did a deeper dive earlier in the week on it, like what would you do with the 5th pick? And it's pretty crystal clear that you could go defensive interior or you could go corner. But I could talk myself into Abdul Carter if he slips, because one thing we still don't have, if Armstead is going to go back to that spot, which it sounds like he will, hopefully, please, then The Jags still have no depth at the edge. They have no depth.
And you can make an argument and say he's probably the best player in the draft. So
yes, you can.
Anytime you can get that guy, like, that's not a bad problem to have.
No, there's a real chance he doesn't drop to you at 5 because of that, right? Sure. So, but I'm just saying, I can make logical sense out of that, but I'll also give you the other side of the ball. You have a coach that obviously is here because of Trevor Lawrence. You have a coach and an EVP, and I'm assuming a GM who gets hired is going to be on the same page as we've got to beef up the offensive line. It wasn't their fault that Walker Little got extended. If they see an upgraded offensive line, do they go after offensive line? And then, oh, by the way, the sexy part of this is, Brian Thomas Jr., Ted McMillan? Oh, okay, he is an offensive guy. Like, how can you not be enamored with that if you're Liam Cohen and this addition to the Jacksonville Jaguars? I think it's fascinating. When you're at the number 5 pick, sometimes you're just like, well, there are only 6 players that you could take anyway because that's where they're ranked or that's where how good they are. But the Jags actually can make a lot of different cases of where they could go, even though some of those positions are already covered up, like offensive line, like wide receiver, and like edge. The reason why we point to defensive tackle is because that's been a weak spot for the last couple of years. The reason why we point to corner is because they definitely need a corner. They definitely need a corner. And really, you could make the case they need a safety more than anything, but they're probably not picking a safety at number 5. We know that from past draft experiences overall. So I continue to say this, and I'll continue to say this for the next couple months. If you're going to get corner, at least before free agency and we figure out what they do, if you're going to get corner at number 5, because I haven't loved the success rate of teams taking corner at number 5 or in the top 10, you've got to ask yourself, Austin, is that guy, can he be Jalen Ramsey for you? Because if I present it that way, everybody in Jags would be like, go get him.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
But he's got to be that. He can't be like settling for a corner because you need a corner. Because you can get a corner at 33 as well, or 37 or whatever you're picking.
This can't be CJ Henderson all over again, Brent.
Yeah, it can't be. Can't be Okudah. Can't be a lot of guys. Like, again, the Eagles just got Quinyon Mitchell at 22 and Cooper DeJean at 40. You can find them there too. So really, it's just a fascinating discussion, one that's just starting here, at least on our show, and will continue for a long time to come. I think there are going to be some really good arguments to be made inside that building, and they'll come up with a unanimous decision at some point. But you're going to have to talk some people into some things, I think, in this draft. Let's take a timeout here on the show, and we check in. Do we have it? Yeah, we do. Look at that. That's Daytona International Speedway, the red carpet for Media Day 2025. And Stuart Weber and Olivia Tassley are there. And so are a lot of other people. Heavily attended Media Day down at Daytona. A great week here in the area, and we'll be down at Daytona a bunch of times this week. And, of course, it all culminates with the Daytona 500 on Sunday, 2:30 on Fox 30. And it gets going with Road to Victory Lane at noon on Fox 30. And that is presented by NHRA Gator Nationals. Don't forget to go to NHRA.com. Get your Gator Nationals tickets. It's March 6th through the 9th at the hallowed grounds of the Gainesville Raceway. It's one of the hot spots in the area.
Welcome you to String Sports Brewery out at the beach. Big crowd on hand tonight. The fans are here.
And now, the newest hot spot at the beach is open. String Sports Brewery in Jax Beach has opened its doors with rave reviews.
We're going to be fans forever.
Cozy up to the bar. Grab a seat in the sports-themed restaurant, or grab a seat outside and feel that breeze coming off the beach as the weather warms. Just like the original location in Springfield, try the popular beer menu and come for lunch or dinner too, because the food is fantastic. He's got some exciting news heading into 2025 as well. Christian Kirk. It's where we hosted Jags Report Live in the football season, and the String Sports Brewery staff can't wait to host you. Hey, welcome back here to String Sports Brewery. And if you haven't checked out the new location in Jax Beach, which many of you have, you got to do it. String Sports Brewery, now with 2 locations in Springfield and now open in Jax Beach on Penman Road.
2024 provided plenty of memorable moments for the Jacksonville Armada on the pitch, including another conference championship game appearance for Tommy Krasanovich's under-23 men's team.
It's in the dying moments.
Debuting this year for the first time, the girls in blue, as the Armada fielded a women's under-23 side in the WPSL and made its presence known with some highlight moments.
Potential goal of the season.
Then attention turned to the future, with MLS Next teams representing the Armada badge in 3 age divisions this fall, including an under-19 squad ranking among the best in the state. Those teams are a big focus on Fleet and Footy, covering the big soccer stories each week on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the Fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
Baker Sports is local sports. Uniforms from Pop Warner and Little League to travel ball, high school, and college. They make you look good. They help you play good. Baker Sports has been helping families make memories that will last a lifetime with their Baker's Buckets. We've got a lot of these filled with baseballs and softballs in the garage. I've been throwing batting practice to Ty and Kaylee for years, and also sit on the Baker's Bucket, catching Kaylee while she practices her pitching. Baker Sports is homegrown, and a lot of employees that used to play on local ball fields now work for Baker Sports, now helping you look good, play good, and make memories of your own. Visit Bakersport.com to see what Baker Sports can do for you. Custom apparel, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, embroidery, screen printing, and more. Baker Sports is local sports, from Jacksonville to anywhere in the Southeast. Bakersport.com.
The Tom Bush family of dealerships, they've been serving customers in the Jacksonville area for 55 years. They've been your go-to spot to get and stay on the road since 1970, and that's still the case here in 2025 and beyond, even if the cars have changed just a little bit.
Check out the sleek line of vehicles of the future. That's right, electric vehicles. Tom Bush offers a full lineup of reliable electric cars with state-of-the-art service facilities. Like the new VinFast, Tom Bush is among the first dealers in the entire country to offer the VinFast, and let me tell you, this thing is sweet. The good folks at Tom Bush have all the info on charging, service, tax credits, and everything you need to keep your EV running smoothly. BMW, Mazda, Volkswagen, Mini, and the newly offered VinFast. There's something for everyone at the Tom Bush family of dealerships. Ready to join the Tom Bush family? Stop by the showroom or check out the inventory online at tombush.com.
Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one-card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One-card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
There it is, March 1st, Lane versus Pinto. We know the Austen Lane guy. That's in Las Vegas at the Apex on March 1st, Saturday night. Are we
trying to get this
to,
dub, Brent? Start calling me the Apex Predator. You know what I'm saying, Brent?
That's right. Are we getting to are we getting to taper time here?
Yeah, give me what we got.
I mean, we're getting close here.
4 days, I think 4 days, and then it's starting to be taper time. I love that. Should be trademarked.
Taper time.
Taper time. I like that. Yeah. So I'm gonna have one more hard session tomorrow with the small gloves again. So we might see me with a little bit of a black eye, maybe a bruised lip, a little bit of a busted up nose. We'll see. But then after that, after tomorrow, then yeah, it's going to be a little more smooth sailing from there. So I'm excited.
Wait, Delphonic said, Brent said Jason Kidd was stepping down earlier. The only thing I saw is a tweet. Did we get scammed
Please
again?
be true. Please be true. Please be true.
Is that not real?
Wait,
not
what
real.
happened?
Yeah, the only place I'm seeing it is from Sharms.
Oh my gosh, it was a fake one.
I can't leave this show for an hour without you guys.
We both did it in
happening?
the last 2 days. He did Hopkins yesterday. I got kidded today.
Okay, so tell me the story. What was the Hopkins one? What was the Jason Kidd one?
Well, so yesterday,
yesterday I got cooked.
He was like, so he's throwing Hopkins up on the screen like 14 times. Meanwhile, I hadn't seen it, and but he said, I can't believe nobody's talking about this. Schefter said it on Monday. Now, again, we're Tuesday on the show. It's like he said it on Monday, and nobody's talking about it. It's just kind of flying under the radar. Hopkins is retiring. He told Andy Reid. And apparently it was
Shelfer.
It was Adam Shelfer. Well, so today, I was literally just scrolling through, I'm not really paying attention to the Mavs in the NBA, and I just saw it was like a big thing. I didn't even know who did it. I just thought it was this must be news of the day. Jason Kidd. And I just learned from Delphonic 2 hours later that apparently that's not true. That's how much we're paying attention to the NBA.
Unreal, guys.
Hey, it's a good thing that it was 2 hours because that means that the people that are listening to us didn't put too much into the whole NBA thing anyway.
Right.
Because if they did, they would have corrected you right away.
That's a good point. Hey, that's why we don't talk a lot of NBA on the show.
You don't
I know
care.
you're not coming here for it. I also love, the old me would have been like, damn, that would bother me. It would bother me of course, if it was something Jags related or something, it would still bother me. But now I'm just laughing at it in real time, Delphonic. Thanks. Glad we should just have a fake one every day. Now that we
guys, I am going to fight on March 1st. I assure you. I promise you that. Okay. So
why are we getting scammed all of a sudden? We've gone for years without getting scammed on Twitter, and here we are. Sorry, folks.
Yeah,
I guess Jason. And by the way, it made sense, right? Jason Kidd's I'm out of this mess. Everybody else is.
Yeah.
Fire Nico fan got out.
Maybe it's finally time to come clean, Brent. Maybe I've been down here the entire time, not even training. Maybe I've been trying to take another job offer,
No, you're the start of the car wash or something.
Miami, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Start of the car wash.
Yeah, the car wash.
What's really going on down there?
Yeah. Hey, you know who I saw too? I didn't see her in person, but I saw her on TV because obviously right now in Miami, it's all about the Panthers. Jessica Blaylock works the Panthers. Which I had no idea.
Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah.
Yeah, I had zero idea. All of a sudden, I see her
she did or she
hockey,
Bally?
Well,
I don't know. It was.
I think she actually works for the Panthers and Marlins. But you're right. It could be for Bally. Is Bally still a thing? We're trying to wonder. Regional sports networks are goofy right now. There's a lot of different stuff going on there. But yeah, Jessica's been down there now for.
Yeah.
Gosh, I was doing the show with her. I can't even keep in. I can't remember when I started over there. Yeah, I started with Dempsey's show and Tony, and then ended up going to the afternoons, and Jessica was the first one, and then we had a couple different renditions of that show. But that would have been, I think she's been down there, man, for 8 years at least.
Okay.
And
I had no idea she was doing the Panthers stuff. So.
Yeah, Jessica's cool. She's been doing Marlins and Panthers, and so obviously last year was cool. They won the Cup.
Yeah.
And usually if I see Jessica, she's getting the Gatorade dump after a walk-off hit for the Marlins or something,
Brent, let me ask
she's
you
doing
this.
the interview.
Did she get a ring? So for instance, if the Jags go to the Super Bowl and win, will you get a Super Bowl ring?
I don't think I would. Now, they could because they're nice. They could be like, Brent, we love you. Thanks for looking out for us. Thanks for writing that article. Thanks for helping the franchise.
For sure.
Thanks for being sunshine and rainbows.
Yep.
Thanks for hosting Jaguars All Access. Thanks for doing preseason sidelines.
Preach.
She
they
did
could
get a ring.
Oh, no, she would definitely get a ring.
She'll get a ring?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm looking
at it.
Yeah.
Oh, and it has her name on it.
See, that's why I think she works for the teams. I think she works for both of them. So, but a lot of times, they'll give play-by-play guys and team media folks that I don't think I would qualify for the Jags. I don't think so.
Can you imagine the fallout if like other radio members, Hamby maybe got a ring and Brent doesn't. Can you imagine the civil war that would happen on Jaguars Twitter if Brent Martineau doesn't get his ring?
Well, I think the only way that would happen would be if like Hicken got one, or if somebody from Channel 4 or 12 or whatever got one.
That's what I'm saying, man.
But like I don't. There's too many people in the media do that. I'll give the guy. I do have some championship rings from the Jacksonville Suns. Pedro Bregan used to do this. He would drop off to like, I don't know if it was it wasn't the entire sports departments, but it was maybe the sports directors at the time or whatever. I don't know, or who he felt covered the team, like was over there and did. I don't know if it was just like that kind of thing. But I have like 2 or 3 Suns Southern League championship rings. I always thought that was pretty cool that Pedro did that. And again, we weren't like tied into the team in that respect. We didn't do like sidelines or play-by-play or anything. We just covered it, and he got us championship rings. Now,
Bat Boys wouldn't have got a ring.
What's that?
Bat Boys wouldn't have got a ring.
Oh, Bat Boys didn't get a ring?
No, we didn't win anything when I was there. But
I wondered that. You sure they wouldn't have got a ring?
I don't think so.
I feel like, they do take care of almost everybody. They get anybody that works in that Jags building. Well, I should say anybody. I feel like almost anybody gets a ring.
Okay, well, here's the true test. Here's the barometer. Is the doctor getting a ring if the Jags win a Super Bowl?
Well, shoot, he's getting a ring.
The doctor's getting the ring, Ham. What kind of question is that?
Yes, he's getting
minus
a ring.
2,000 at Vegas right now. Yeah, for sure. That's a layup.
Listen, I got my Ashland University College World Series ring. We have that, even though we went 0-2 in a barbecue. So that's a proud ring. That looks like, by the way, that ring is like your class. It's like your class high school ring, which I never got.
Let's go.
But our World Series ring for Division II World Series seriously looks like something that you would have got your senior year of high school. But hey, we're Division II, man. We can't afford us. I appreciate it. I'm not complaining. I love it.
One
it's
of those,
great.
what do they call them? Joss Stones, I think it was like
Jostens,
the brand.
yeah, absolutely.
Jostens. Brent, so did you?
It's a Wisconsin company, I think.
It might be. Oh yeah, because they kept trying to shovel those down our throats. Even in grade school, like, hey, you want a grade school ring? So did you? So you opted out of your ring for like your senior year, Brent?
Oh yeah, I didn't get that.
Same. Hammy, did you opt? No, for sure. Ham, you definitely got one.
I have no idea.
Oh yeah.
I don't ever remember.
He's afraid to admit it.
No, I'm not.
By the way, we're not judging. Yeah, I guess we're kind of judging.
Judging.
I'm pretty sure that I opted out. I've never put on a.
Oh no, you got one, and then you have like a little necklace that you wear. The charm is probably underneath the shirt right now as we speak. It's all good, Hamby. No worries.
Terrible. If we got a Super Bowl ring in Jacksonville, where would you wear it? How often would you wear it? By hosting Jaguars All Access with the Super Bowl ring on?
Oh, Brent, you got him, man.
That's a huge ring, man. Those things are massive. They're so gaudy, they're not even worth wearing half the time.
I mean, you see Bill Belichick wore his for the NFL. Hey, he wore a couple of them. And then he had another ring on his arm.
Wasn't it his girlfriend that wore it or something?
That dude's winning.
Still crazy.
Brent, if you get a ring one day, it's going to be like, you got to make it a necklace, number one, or you got to do like that rapper did back in the day and just like have it like mounted in your forehead, like tattooed in your forehead. Because that one rapper did that one time. I forgot who the rapper was.
Listen, I'm not going to get a ring. Like, I really don't think I would get a ring, okay? I don't see any reason why I would get a ring. So it's okay. Like, I'm not clamoring for one. But maybe that will be the tattoo. Like, I'm not going to get the ring, but I get the tattoo on a ring. I'll put my own name on it. Like, I got it.
Yeah. Rest in peace to Jason Hamby in the comments, by the way, because the Delphonic's going for the throat right now. Remember that one? Hey, Brent, did you start Brent, I want to see your senior pictures, man.
Well, first of all, I don't remember doing senior pictures.
No?
Like my kids just did them last year? Is that what you mean? Yeah, we didn't.
Yeah, when you become a senior, man, you gotta do like a sports one. You gotta do one like in a nice. Like,
yeah, we didn't
do them.
No, we didn't do those. I don't know how new that is, but
it's not new.
I do not think
Brent, my mom did it. Like, I feel like it's in your wheelhouse.
I'll ask, but I really don't.
Okay.
And listen, my mom's a picture taker. No surprise.
Sure.
So am I. But I don't remember doing that. Like I know exactly what you're talking about. We just did it with the kids. So, but I do not remember doing that. I kind of felt like that was just like a new age thing in the last like decade or whatever else. Like,
Yeah.
Or maybe we just didn't do it up in Rhode Island. I mean, I have like my yearbook picture, I'm sure, but I don't.
Well, see, like the way that it worked in Wisconsin is like your yearbook picture was your senior picture. So like,
whatever
instead of
you
like
had
going,
taken.
yeah. So like
Not
instead
you
of like
sitting
going
with an
to-
apple like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like the background. No, like you actually submit your own senior picture for like the yearbook. But dude, my mom was so pissed off at me for my senior pictures because so like we had a deal. I had to do some sports ones. Yeah, I had to wear the jersey, the football pads, kind of like the Bo Jackson and everything. And then I had like a pink polo shirt because at the time Kanye West was really big. And when I say Kanye West was big, I mean normal Kanye West. I mean, graduation Kanye West, not this Kanye West that we see now. So, I had the pink polo shirt and everything. But in every one of my pictures, I didn't smile. And when my mom saw like the after shots and everything, she's like, I spent all this bleeping money on braces and you couldn't smile in one of your pictures. I'm like, Mom, gotta look hard. You know what I'm saying? Gotta look, hey, man, I'm about to go to college, go to the real world.
You got a reputation. Been back
Straight
on.
face, Brent.
Just heading to the back 40 after
man.
this.
Straight faced.
Like he graduated. Yeah. I just don't remember doing that. Yeah, I don't remember doing that. So do you think, now you guys got me thinking on Delphonic says if you eat lobster bisque on the yacht, you're getting a ring. No, I don't think that's the case. There are a lot of people on that yacht that I'd be a little surprised if they got a ring. I wouldn't think so, but maybe I'm wrong. I would see some people on that yacht asking for a ring, though. I could see that. I'm not going to be one of those, although I am doing 10 minutes on it right in the middle of a show here.
For one. You're going to have to, and it's going to be like Joss Stone's like, hey, you got to submit the paperwork and check in.
Now that's actually, would you buy a ring if you had a chance to buy a Super Bowl ring for anybody?
Oh.
And it was like, I don't know if it's like knockoff. It could have to be like knockoff, right? Because those things are super. They've got like diamonds and all that. But some kind of whatever it would cost.
No.
Probably
not, man.
Yeah.
I would need a real one. Yeah.
Be the Jags would be like, hey, dude, this ring costs like $30,000. If you want to chip in 10, you can have one. I wouldn't blame them, by the way.
Season tickets. Hey, if you buy a ring right now,
like
you
how
get
much
3 season tickets next year.
Yeah, there you go. How much do those rings cost now? Like they've got to be insane.
Yeah.
So let's just say this:
30 to 50 grand.
Is that what they are? Mm-hmm. There's no way in hell the Jags should get Brent a ring. John Conn should not be spending
so short.
He should not be spending $30,000 to $50,000 on me for covering the team.
Right.
Why would he ever get us a ring?
He dropped 10 grand on gas and lobster bisque with you on that yacht.
But the yacht wasn't moving.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, the NFL
you put the sails up and let the wind take it a little bit. You're ported the whole time. Well, that was lame.
The NFL contributes.
Let's take it around the river one time.
Oh my gosh!
Can we go for a loop?
Take it on the river one time.
Should have asked that night. Can we fire this thing up or what?
Yeah, we're just gonna stay in the port. Like, just go to a hotel then. What's the difference?
Oh, we got on the yacht and you're still talking about it. That's the difference.
That's true.
What do you got, Hamby?
The NFL contributes about 5 to 7,000 per ring for up to 150 rings. The additional costs are paid by the team.
Okay, so that's
it's about 30,000 a ring.
So they're spending 30,000 each ring, or about 100, and they're probably more than that, right? They're probably getting over 200 rings. But I mean, I get it. We're talking about billionaires. Does this really matter? But the bottom line is, even if I'm a billionaire, I ain't giving Brent a $50,000 ring. Like, what? It doesn't make sense. So, like, you appreciate the gesture, although maybe it just is one of those deals. Like, he never really knows Brent got the ring. It just went on the list, right? Like,
he'd sell it when it goes up on eBay.
So, do you think? Yeah. I'm not selling the ring, okay? If I were to get a ring, I'm not selling the ring. But this is making me think twice now. Does this position me in a bad way if the Jags win the Super Bowl, have even potential to get a ring? Should I really be getting the hat that says, if you're not learning, you're dying?
Now we're talking.
I don't know how Sean's going to take that. Does he take that as like, I don't like that? Or is he like, I like that. Let me have one of those hats.
No, I mean, dude, I think he should take it, man. He should embrace it fully. I think what Shad Khan should do, though, is when he gets the ring, and Brent, you better get one, but when he gets the ring, he's got to go like, this is the hottest ticket in town, and then there's going to be like a scanning code, and like you can take the ring, and it'll get you like access to like the yacht, or it'll get you access to like, you know, like the VIP suite in the stadium and everything. And it truly will be the hottest ticket in town.
All right, so here's the deal. This Ryan brings up. Maybe if they get the $22 million back from the employee. Yeah, we can't do it. But by the way, that's 440 rings at $50K a pop.
Oh man, that's too funny.
So if you get to 440, we might be on that list.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to see how that court case plays out. Hopefully they recoup some of that money.
Oh.
That's hilarious. Hey, where were you guys on the? We've totally just gone on. I love this show sometimes because we don't even know what we're talking about. Where were you guys on the Aaron Rodgers conversation after I left the show yesterday?
We were a bunch of different ways.
We went down a rabbit hole, Brent. This was you know, the Action Sports Jets network for a second. It felt like. Hamby, yeah. Where do we stop off, Hamby? I think you kind of had the last word, or.
Yeah, it was like, we started with...
Did you get the McAfee part in?
No, that was new today.
Oh,
that didn't come out until either last night or this morning.
Okay.
That report.
Is it real?
Yeah, let's just check on it right quick.
Well, then also
Delphonic, please check on that. See if it's real.
Well, then supposedly there's that Steelers player too, which I feel like it was real, that had something to say about Rodgers possibly going to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I saw that part.
Yeah, you did. You brought that up today. I mean, why wouldn't that be a landing spot? Right?
That's what I thought too. But according to Jason Hamby and I guess some players maybe in that Steelers locker room, I think the quote was something along the lines of he can keep his old ass at home. So they don't want him in Pittsburgh.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, where's Aaron Rodgers fit? Where'd you guys come up with? Like, where should he be?
So I think we both agreed, Brent, that he'll get another opportunity. Whether it's Las Vegas, whether it's possibly like Tennessee. I mean, there's not a lot of options, I feel like. But I think what we're talking about now is, does the talent outweigh the distractions? And I'm not sure after thinking about it, you know, last night, if I can really come along and say, like, is Aaron Rodgers on your team worth it? Is all the political stuff, if he goes on McAfee, like, is all that worth it? And I think we saw the play last year where it said, it wasn't.
Yeah, I think there's more of that now for me in this evidence than there was. He's got a little Kelce to him now, to where I think it's obvious that he's losing a step. He's not the same guy. And then I don't know if the distractions are as big as he makes them out to be and everybody else makes them out to be. I think he's probably still a pretty good teammate overall and all that stuff. I think some of that is louder than it really is, and probably a lot of it's louder than it really is. But a couple years ago, I was big on Rodgers still having it. And you guys weren't, but I was like, now he got hurt, right? So that changed a lot of things. So we really never found out if he really did still have it. But when you get hurt at that age and that significant injury, it's tough to then come back, right, at that age. If LeBron James had that injury now, would he come back and be at this high level? Probably not. Probably not, right? So I think that certainly factored in. But I sit here and say, who needs him? Like, do you need Aaron Rodgers anymore? Or is there another option? Well, and that's what I don't know. Like, I don't land on, this team really needs Aaron Rodgers, and they'd be great.
Well, and that's kind of what we're debating yesterday, Brent, is like, all right, say you look at Pittsburgh, like, would you, and obviously Russell Wilson's probably going to go on in a different spot as well, but like, would you rather have Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers? What about Minnesota? I mean, if you want to talk about script writing, have Aaron Rodgers go to Minnesota. And see how that goes for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, literally Brett Favre reincarnated all over again.
The whole thing, yeah.
The whole thing. See how that goes. Like, do you think Aaron Rodgers is a better option than Sam Darnold?
Probably
Brent, like,
not, but what about the
how do you
Tennessee
feel?
Titans, right? Like, what about the Titans? Maybe.
Yeah.
And one last thing here. I don't think the Jets should be allowed to say a guy can't go on McAfee. I just think it showed that they didn't want him. That was one of the things that's going to piss him off. Be like, hey, this is another thing, we don't really want you. That wasn't the only reason he's not coming back to the Jets.
Yeah.
But I think it just adds to it. It's like you don't care about that stuff if you really want a guy in a negotiation. You're like, oh yeah, this is a big deal if we really don't care about losing the guy in the negotiation at the end of the day. Hey, we got to get out of here in a minute. We'll catch up with you again tomorrow, last day in South Florida. So look forward to that. Have a good rest of your day. Get a good workout in tomorrow. We'll see you Friday back up here in Jacksonville, Austen Lane.
Sounds good, man. And tune in tonight. I think we'll be doing the Scrap House starting at 7 o'clock, me and Casey Kurtz as well. So we'll be doing the Scrap House.
Awesome. Love it. Thanks for mentioning that. We got a busy day here on the network, actionsportsjacks.com, including the debut show of No Gate Fees coming up at 2 o'clock. But before that, Cup Date with Stuart Weber, a week with Action Sports Jacks at 1:30, and then that at 2, after the game at 3, Young and Norvell 4 to 6, and 7 o'clock tonight, the Scrap House with Austin and Casey Kurtz. That's a hell of a day here on a Wednesday on actionsportsjacks.com, the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. And by the way, don't forget to go to AmeliaConcord.com. Get your tickets for the Amelia, the 30th edition of it up there at Amelia Island. It's the March 6th through the March 9th. All you got to do is go to AmeliaConcord.com. Have a great Wednesday, everybody.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around, and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter, First Coast, a call at 904-417-3557. Or look them up at first-coast.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with that one painter, First Coast, on your team.
Just be yourself. Maybe we're talking about being a dad or a mom, a first responder, or a teacher. Maybe it's a sports fan. We love those. We're talking about anyone in the Jacksonville community. At Community First Credit Union, just be yourself means being real. When you partner with Community First, it's straightforward. They're people connecting with you, so you can be yourself. I've been coming here to Community First for years. This is the Bartram branch, the one I usually come to, and they have mortgage loans, personal loans, and auto loans, and I'm almost done paying off that truck loan. Just a few more months. Good rates, easy online banking, and friendly customer service when I have a question. It's easy to be myself with Community First. They live up to the slogan in their name. Community First has partnerships in the Jacksonville community with the Iceman, the Florida Theater, the Jacksonville Zoo, and many more. Visit one of the Jacksonville branches or find out all you can do with Community First Credit Union at communityfirstfl.org so you can just be yourself.
For the game day hustle and every day in between, juggling my show Jags Social to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive your passion.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jax 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Right now, you can take 10% off any water heater. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC